This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
Kane is in the building.
All right, everybody. It's Friday night. It's open comms. Not quite the 4th of July show. That's Tuesday.
It's Independence Day weekend, man.
It is
We're
Independence Day weekend.
We're already into the long weekend. This is it. This begins it. We kick it off. Freedom,
Free
baby.
from the shackles of the Brits.
Welcome to Earth.
Happy Canada Day as well.
Oh,
where
yeah,
we just politely asked for our independence and she gave it to us.
Yeah, that's not how we roll.
We rolled up some American Brexit, or I don't know.
We're like,
I'd say a Mexit, but then it has Mex in it, and that would just be wrong.
Yeah,
like,
we
wasted some perfectly good tea.
Yeah, fuck that tea.
In the ocean. Fuck.
That tea was bullshit. Anyway, we got us here. Rain is not here yet. She might show up a little bit later. She's still got to fly.
Rain on a plane.
Yeah, we got Rain on a plane. And then we have Mrs. Canadian here as well.
We'll get to that.
And then Alexiev is back this week. He was here last week as well. So how's it going?
Yo.
Yeah, we actually got. Did you mention LB? We got LB, who's like the originator.
Well, I
of,
said
Canada Day,
I said we got the usuals, which I assume is just like the cast. That's why I introduced me or you or LB or DC.
Okay,
so we get a shout out. He's just the usual.
The usual. So the only guest we got tonight, other than on screen, is Alexi, and that's because last week it was Drayden's birthday. I'd like to say we got a little carried away, but
was that last week?
That was last week. Yes, dude.
That was.
We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what the hell was I going to say? I don't know. There was a lot of talk going back and forth. There were a lot of shots being taken, and quite honestly, I felt as though Alex didn't quite get what I wanted him to be there for, which was actually to have some more conversation. So he's back this week. Hopefully, we're going to get some more conversation out of him. Now, the other thing, because we do have another guest here, I don't even want to call her Mrs. Drunk Canadian because she's not yet Mrs. Drunk Canadian. However, tomorrow she will be Mrs. Drunk Canadian officially.
All right.
So props to that. I don't know. I feel like we should have strippers here or something because it's kind of like stag party night or something.
Well, I mean, I could
open comms bachelor party.
Hold on, give me.
That's against the Twitch.
Yeah,
Twitch
I know
the
them damn rules. I wasn't going to. Yeah,
rules.
It's probably a really bad thing we got staff with us here too. We have to behave ourselves.
To an extent.
Yeah, kind of. I don't think we behaved ourselves last week. Somehow we're still on the air.
You're all set. Like everything's like all ready to go. You got the mooses all lined up, and whatever's bringing her in on a sleigh.
Yeah, tomorrow's the paperwork portion of it all, and then next week we fly to Jamaica and do an actual formal ceremony in Jamaica.
Oh, wow,
nice.
Cool.
Where are you going?
How are you going to get the moose-drawn carriage to Jamaica? How are you going to do
that? FedEx. It left about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Perfect. Should be fine.
You going to
it'll be fine.
Montego Bay, Negril, Ocho Rios?
Where are we going again? Montego Bay, right? Runaway Bay.
Runaway Bay. Okay. Oh, okay.
Ironic name for a wedding.
Breezes, or
right? Hey,
you going to Breezes, or where are you going? What's the resort?
The
Grand Bahia.
Grand Bahia.
You gonna go to Dunn's River Falls? You gonna go to Dunn's River Falls?
Lame.
Apparently that's lame, according to Kelsey.
You know what? You kind of have to. If you haven't done it before, you kind of have to do it.
I went on my honeymoon, and it was pretty good.
Yeah,
did you go there?
I did it on my honeymoon as well, and look, it's a little terrifying. Okay, from two reasons. Okay, one, your waterfall Sherpa, okay, that's carrying everybody's cameras. All right, like he's got them like all around his neck, and he's carrying them so that, in case you fall, you don't ruin your camera, right? Because he's really sure-footed. He's like a fucking goat. But then also it's like like as you're climbing this thing, right? It's a little, it's wet in places. It's a freaking waterfall, and you're thinking to yourself, where is the nearest reputable medical facility if I go down? So there's that sense of danger that's involved as well, but it really is quite beautiful.
Yeah, who knows? I
I've
mean, we're
not
there
been
for a
there.
week, so
If you're only
I
there
plan
for a
on
week,
snorkeling a lot.
don't do too much. Yeah, spend most of it on the resort.
Somebody is.
Well, I was gonna
somebody
spend
has
most of it in
already.
the water because it's Jamaica in July and it's probably gonna be hot as balls.
Yeah.
Yep. It's gonna be.
Wanna
It's
say
gonna be a little warm.
No, we're probably gonna go to Rick's Cafe and then go snorkeling and then go to Margaritaville.
From Runaway, okay, because Runaway Bay is north of Montego Bay, and Rick's is down in Negril, so it's, I haven't been down there like in probably like 8 years, so I don't know what the roads are like now. But it's kind of a long ride when you get behind some of those vehicles down there. Although they do kind of drive like maniacs sometimes, but
Yeah, it's gonna be a full day trip.
yeah.
Is this
Negril's
the actual
nice, though.
Margaritaville?
No,
I don't
actual
know.
Margaritaville is down. Actual Margaritaville is down in the Keys, the Florida Keys. But they probably have another margarita. It's like I don't know. Anyways, but no, Jamaica's great. I freaking love Jamaica. It is my favorite Caribbean island. I can't say enough about it. Fucking love Jamaica.
Plus, there's so many jokes you can make with the word Jamaica.
I
Really,
guess.
there's only one. Jamaican me crazy.
What you making?
Oh,
Oh, you're so Canadian.
it's so lame. Ah,
Anyways, we did have the inimical who said, "Can we swap DC for his wife as a regular guest? She's better looking, and I'm tired of looking at him." we can maybe work
I don't know
something
if she
out.
has
Inimical.
much to add for Eve-related topics, though.
So par for the course.
I guess you can just sit there.
She can
Hey,
just play
do any
she
of
can just
us?
play a video game like you do. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
chime in
don't
once
read
in a while.
anything. It's actually funny because right now she's playing the fuck is this? Ocarina of Time on the DS.
Oh, that's the. Oh, I've never played on a DS, but that's
On the
best
DS?
Zelda. That's the best 3D.
Yeah,
Zelda.
3DS.
Oh,
Yeah. Eve
Uh,
stuff
just-
bores her, but she wanted to sit here, so she's gonna play Zelda.
but anyways, congratulations. Hope you guys have a great day tomorrow, as well as
Oh.
what's going on with the camera.
Oh, hey, oh.
What? We almost had him.
Oh,
we
we
almost
had
had him.
Oh,
He's sort of there.
Okay.
He's hanging
Looks like I
in.
got
He's
the,
there.
the video working now. It's just a matter of
Did you plug it into your USB
making
port?
me
And now
able
it
to
works.
hear all you guys at
Okay,
the same
now
time.
I-
Hold on.
Oh.
Make sure you
alright,
mute
hold on, let me
your,
rearrange
mute your
these
Skype
cameras then.
But while we're
That over.
while we're working that out, I'll just give a couple other things here. You know what? Today is CCP Falcon's birthday. Apparently, I've seen some stuff out on Twitter where he's got like a cake and they're like out to like dinner or some shit. So you know what? He's a guy who's had a hard couple weeks, I'd say. So I don't know. Happy birthday to CCP Falcon. Just remember, we love you, bro. Hope you get some SP for your birthday.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I don't know.
I gotta fix these cameras for like the next 5 minutes.
Go ahead. It's just it's a 5-bag camera, dude. It's not like we've never had five people on here before.
Skype must have changed because normally it puts 4 in a row, and now it's 4 in a box. So like the camera
Hey.
spots are all off.
Yeah. Okay.
You track and hold Alt to drag them and quickly resize them. Okay.
Yep. That is something, Urandus, that we can actually do. We can mention. Well, a couple things related to that. Apparently, somebody decided to send CCP Lyrican a couple bags of dicks to eat, and it got caught up at I guess customs or whatever coming in, and he got something saying, "Hey, bro, come down and pay us like $38 to get this thing out of Hawk." And he's like, "What is it?" They opened it up, and it's like a bag of dicks, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, no." I mean, apparently
I heard it
everything
was
gets
Project
taxed
Mayhem.
coming into that country.
You heard what, Paul?
I heard Project Mayhem did that. They sent him a bag of dicks.
Oh yeah. There's 2
Yeah.
bags of dicks and some glitter.
Some
Oh, glitter.
dicks
Maybe
or
it was
something.
test.
Yeah. I like how it was itemized. It was dick-shaped somethings, and then glitter, and then like actual bag of dicks.
But that's
It
some
was like
serious
dick
tax.
gummies, edible dicks.
That's some
There's
serious.
like a website where you can anonymously send somebody a bag of gummy dicks.
Yeah, you just don't want to send it to Iceland. You apparently don't want to send anything to Iceland because it's just all taxed pretty heavily coming in. Like what? Like they want you to buy local Icelandic dicks?
Yeah,
Gummy
local
dicks?
Icelandic gummy dick makers are going out of business because
Well,
all
you,
these
yeah, you
stereotypes.
have to support the
It's a
local
dying
gummy
industry
dicks.
in Iceland. But
A
anyways, yeah,
dick glitter bomb.
that was kind of funny, and I guess in like real countries or whatever, they wouldn't hit you for as much, and he could have like been eating bags of dicks, but apparently yeah, it's a little expensive, right? To sit there and go, how much do I want some freaking gummy dicks?
You're
I
basically
think
taking
that-
the dicks out of his mouth with that.
I think it
tax.
could have been avoided if he'd labeled it a gift, or if he'd added like an inventory list to the box. But I don't think the company that sends out the dicks does that.
Look at you
They're
getting called
probably
out,
not-
Drayden.
they're probably
Life
not
Shifter's calling you
well-schooled
out
in,
for having the wrong name tag for DC.
I know, I'm changing them. I figured I'd get the cameras fixed first.
Man, we got fucking management watching us. Jesus, gotta get the cameras going here. Like as bad as these other shows, for Christ's sakes. Anyways,
Oh, I found it. It's called Dicks by Mail.
MALE
Anonymously-
or MAIL?
MAIL.
Phrasing.
You just like put in somebody's address and they anonymously send them a bag of dicks and glitter. This is definitely the website they
Oh, so the
used.
glitter comes with it. Okay, it's not like an add-on.
Yeah, this is like somebody used this website obviously.
I think you can add the glitter to your order if you want. It's like an optional.
And it comes with a
thing.
nice little label that says "Eat a bag of dicks."
Well, you would need to say that, right? I mean, like that needs to come with it. Otherwise, you just be like, "Why do I have a bag of dicks?"
Well, yeah, like you wouldn't know what to do with gummy dicks.
Exactly.
So it says to eat them.
All right, trying to clear through the A list of just recent announcements. If you're a big Permaband fan, I'm gonna link it in the channel now.
Is there a new song?
No, there's
they
not a
have a
new song
website.
at the moment. However, they have a website. They have a fan site. So if you like seeing Guard with his guitar and shit, they've got like some stuff out there. They got videos. They've got stuff about the band and whatnot. I was actually thinking, man, it would be kind of cool to like get Permaband as like a wedding band or whatever. I really wonder if Guard kind of does that in like on the side or whatever. But
Maybe
Is
they'll
that-
go to Jamaica.
Is that the
Sorry.
purpose of the website? So you can book Permaband, or like why do they need a website?
I don't know. It's a fan site. Why do we need other kinds of fan sites? You know what I mean? They're getting big. They've got 6 releases to their name. They play in places like Reykjavik, Iceland, and Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean,
Those
They're
are 2 big
international.
cities.
they're on Rock.
Pretty much.
Rockstar
You play in
now,
Vegas, you've
yeah.
made it. Are they on Rock Band though?
Rock Band. Yeah,
They
they're
are,
on Rock
yeah.
Band.
Oh, and
Rockstar.
Wait,
to be
seriously?
to be clear, they sold
Yeah.
out Vegas.
They sold out Vegas.
They sold out Vegas.
over freaking filled.
Oh man, they're kind of a big deal.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
Yeah,
download.
and there were women dancing on the tables and everything.
You can get Wrecking Machine for Rock Band now, Paul.
You know you've made it when there's women dancing on tables at your concert.
I had another topic here about the Alliance tournament is coming up on July 29th. Okay, so here we are at June 30th. So in basically 30 days from today, the Alliance tournament's coming up. The flagships are out. Pretty much, it's like a whole bunch of freaking Balgorns and some other shit, some Geddons. There's like, I think somebody said that out of all the teams, there were like 2 Vindicators, which is part of this year's Serpentis, cheaper points system. But everybody's still going with the Balgorn meta, apparently, for at least for their flagships.
Well, the thing is, the Balgorn scales so well with the extra ISK you can put on your flagship. The newts, the webs, they
Yep.
all super benefit from being able to have more money on it. Whereas a Vindicator, you only get the web, or you can maybe like put some officer grade mag stabs on it or something. You're not
would-
really getting the extra utility.
Would you expect to see Vindicators just, not as a flagship, but certainly hitting the field?
With the points reduction, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
shocked. I think the issue is the close range blaster meta in general in the Alliance tournament seems to have kind of a hit or miss to it. Teams that can make it work really well, but it seems to be very inflexible. Teams with more range and more speed tend to figure out ways around it. And I think the top tier teams are not likely to put their faith in a doctrine that's basically has a 50-50 chance. I think they're going to edge more toward the control stuff. But
Hey,
that
Drayden.
said, I still think you could see a lot of it just because they're so cheap now.
Drayden, can I implore you to just leave his white screen in the back and not try and pretend it's a green screen?
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could do it, but
I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just kind of
That
catching
was
myself here.
super polite. Have you been spending time up here?
Been up in Canada.
I'm just sitting there going, how long is Drayden
I
going to
implore
try and
you.
white screen this?
I was trying to.
I implore you, good sir. Please.
Even
don't
if I
fuck
set
with
it
the
to like
green screen.
similarity 1 and
It would start hitting his
everything
cheeks and
everything
forehead.
1, it like started chroming him out before the white screen. I didn't understand it, but oh well, that's all right.
Are you trying to say he's that white? Like bowling on Twitter white?
No, I think half of us on the show are whiter than he is.
Mm,
I mean, look at
But
him.
anyways.
maybe 25% of you on the show are whiter than I am.
One of the things that okay, so Monday of this week, right? We've been talking about this for a little while. The skill queue reimbursement was completed on Monday of this week. Except that it wasn't. And they kind of had to update that because not everybody got their reimbursement. This was due to the skill queue mishap that happened a couple of weeks ago that was related to the first attempt at trying to fix something with ghost training or whatever. And that didn't quite work, and they had to come back and say, okay, maybe within the next 48 hours. But I believe that as of yesterday, they said that everybody was reimbursed, and if you weren't, file a petition. That has been a more challenging issue for them. This is not something that I've seen them do on any kind of scale in the past. In the past, they've given out blocks of skill points, but that was not related to skill point reimbursement. That was related to, servers being down for an extended period of time or login issues that affected broad swaths of the player base. It was not about, did anybody lose skill points in the meantime? And there are some people out there saying, why are you using this 40 skill point per minute thing? Why didn't you just blanket everybody? And because this is about skill point reimbursement, it's not a mea culpa to the entire player base.
I feel like I deserve more skill points from that.
I feel like we all do, but we don't.
They
But
should
we
just
don't.
give them out.
Well, I
Well-
mean, we always feel like we deserve, but
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think I got affected, and I want skill points. Give me skill points.
You most
Otto
likely got
Bismarck, what's
affected.
up, bro?
I know I got affected, but I got Dirk's tweet at like midnight and bolted out of bed, went downstairs and logged in and restarted my skill queue. So I lost
I've heard
about
one-
40 minutes.
I've heard one theory that they don't want to do another blanket gift like that because now skill points can be converted directly to ISK.
Well,
And
they
they
have
wanna
not
wear
done
it.
they have not done a blanket one since the introduction of injectors. So even though we have had a couple periods or a couple issues that have come up since that time, maybe with the server being down for a short period. I think there was something in this last year that happened, since skill injectors came out, where they didn't come out and go, oh, sorry about that. Here's some skill points, and we believe that the reasoning is because skill points can now be sold as opposed to before it was just for your own personal, don't you feel better, did we mollify the masses kind of a thing.
And if you factor in that people have a lot of extra accounts now with alphas coming in, I can see why they would be hesitant to do it. I don't think they will. I don't think it's the case that we'll never see it again. But I think they're going to try to avoid it a lot more than before.
Yeah, well, I think they are definitely going to try and avoid it. And I think that this right here is probably a good example of the amount of work that they probably, from a development standpoint, have put into trying to correct the skill queue thing. Okay, so just in terms of writing a script to begin with, on Monday it didn't work, and having to go back and relook at this and redo it again. I think that was also potentially what was the extended downtime yesterday. They would have been probably better off from a company standpoint, not wasting as much time on trying to not only just find those players that were affected, but which players, which characters were affected down to the minute. I mean, that right there was probably not a script that they had to pull off the shelf.
So ghost training is not fixed though, right?
Ghost training, as far as we know, is still not fixed. This right here is all work that was associated with reparations related to the skill queue.
Reparations.
It's not fixed, but they have declared an exploit, and they are actively looking for people that are abusing it, and they're going to them individually, but they haven't put out like a blanket
I
code
would
fix
think
to it.
it's.
But I mean, if your like account just like dries up,
Yeah,
and
I was
you're,
saying
like,
like
not
how
playing,
it
and then you
seems
don't
like
log
it'd be
in
really
and you're
tough
ghost
to
training.
figure out who's actually ghost training and who just let an account lapse.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Like, how do you pick the horse? The fly.
Well,
I
you
think
find
the
Pepper and
you
a
people
find
that
the
have
guy
like
that
12 accounts that are
Yeah, you
happen to all expire constantly.
Yeah,
I think
That's a
pretty
little
clear.
different.
you find the guy with the farm that extracted it all and sold all those Concord ships.
Okay,
and that guy's
so you got to kind of
exploiting
catch him after the fact, like, oh,
Well,
Pretty much.
and that's just it. Okay, so
there might
so
be a
what
few
would-
just random casualties of people that let their account lapse,
Just
and then
like
after a while they're like,
Concord, it's
you know what, I
punitive.
should probably just rip all the skill counts out or skill points out because I'm not going to use it. But at that point, I guess it doesn't matter if that gets banned.
apparently this week what we saw was evidence presented out on Reddit that at least one person has been hit by them coming after them. It was
What
for
was it, 90
approximately
billion or something?
107 billion.
107.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently the backstory is that half of that roughly was related to ghost training that only happened for a short period of time or whatever the answer was, and the other half was related to 100 plus pacifiers or whatever that they got from having gone to FanFest.
Right.
So it was a bit of both there. That's what the claim is, out on Reddit. I don't think that there has been another one that has stepped forward to say, "Oh, I got hit too." But this is something that apparently is beginning to go down. Now, when it comes to the exploit itself, right? First, you have to start with the fact that this is a bug, right? And it was a bug that hit people, whether they were trying to or not, as long as their account went from Omega into Alpha and it still had Omega skills and a Q lined up in there. So even if you were trying to or not, it may have hit you. However, I think that they made it pretty clear that they're not looking to go after people where it just happened by default, right? That it was more looking for other telltale signs that you were actually trying to exploit this.
C909, subscribe.
See, nice, thanks for the sub, man.
That you were actually trying to exploit this by the next step, which is extract, sell injectors, claim money, benefit, right? Now, even if you did that on, let's say, an account, maybe two, I really wonder if you're going to come under their microscope. But if you've done it and it looks like it's a consistent thing, or on a scale wise that reaches whatever their internal kind of, we want to put a microscope on this, that's a different story. Nobody out there, I think, should worry about the fact of they let their accounts lapse and guess what? They accrued extra skill points. It really comes down to, what did you do with it afterwards?
Yeah.
Were you a blatant goddamn exploiting farmer?
And for anything like this, there's always going to be a small portion of players that are doing the most stuff. I would venture a guess that there's probably like a handful of people, maybe a dozen, who knows, that are like accounting for easily 50% of all abuse related to the thing, if not more. They're going to go after those guys first. Like, if you're letting it lapse on one or two accounts, even if you rip your skill points out and sell them, that's around the average number of accounts that an EVE Online player has. Like Dirk just said, it's not abnormal that you would plex your account and then stop plexing your account at some point. I'm sure that happens quite a bit as well. But if you're in the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 150 account range, I'm sure some people are at, you can expect CCP knocking at your door, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, that was DC that just said.
I really wonder if, okay,
But
because
it doesn't matter because it was me.
No,
because this
no,
thing
I
was
get
the
shit on
first
what I do.
evidence. This thing out on Reddit, right, was the first evidence, and supposedly the story behind it again was part of it was ghost training, and the other part of the big money take back was also related to the fact of because they said that they were going to go after the ships that ghost farmers may have received if they were also FanFest attendees. I almost wonder if one of the earlier kind of skims were, okay, show me anybody who came to FanFest that received more than X number of pacifiers.
Inimical, thanks for the sub.
And then drilled down on them to see if they could find evidence of ghost training. I wonder if that might have been one of the early screens.
I'm gonna throw a shot back. Now, dealing with the shots. So I'm gonna do a shot. I'll throw this one out to DC and the soon-to-be Mrs. Canadian.
Yeah.
Congrats on
I'll drink some beer.
Congrats on that. And speaking of that topic, not to interrupt you guys' thing, but We have breaking news. Okay, I'll leave that for a bit. Shots.
Why are you a ghost?
No, it's breaking news, man.
Yeah, but you like fit like
Ooh.
It adds
Scary,
a,
man. It's fucking
You
Halloween.
gotta add effect.
like
Yeah, Dirk's like,
CNN news ghost. is
It's not
coming.
exciting if you just say, "Oh, by the way, guys, breaking news."
breaking news.
Sorry.
Dirk doesn't even have a bottle here. You know what? I'm going this week without shots. I'm going to try and see what that works out like because there are some times when I want to have a conversation. Plus, I keep getting shit. Oh, Dirk, you fucking slur at the end of the night. It's like whatever. I mean,
I'm
open
not gonna lie
comms
to
is
you. Drinking beer all night, like what I usually do, doesn't really work out by the end of the night either, because you're
Yeah.
constantly drinking.
We'll see. I mean, usually I'm just fucking geared up to come in here and whatnot. But you know what? We'll see how this works out tonight. Honestly, I'm already just not quite having as much fucking fun. But not because again,
2 shots of
it's
beer.
it's my one night of the fucking week that I drink, and now to placate some people out there, whatever. Maybe I'll just get totally hammered on fucking beer and be like, see, no fucking difference. Boom, can't help it.
You could do Century Club with yourself and do a shot of beer every minute for 100 minutes.
You could
Could
just
do
wait
that.
till the final hour and then just drink every other second.
But that's right. Could do that. But yeah. So no, I mean, really, what it was honestly okay. So I wake up last Saturday morning. Right, I had a fun time the night before, and I see somebody freaking tweets out the damn thing of me doing what I had left of Fireball, and I'm like, are you serious? Like I don't get enough goddamn attention for freaking drinking on this show. You gotta like send out a goddamn clip of me. It's like, come on.
Well, it's a meme now. It like
That's right,
maximum
Chilled
over
Mackers.
Dirk is
Just be you, dude.
It's become
I know.
meme nation. Yeah. Well,
I just I want to.
I don't get dumb
This is
after
what I
drink.
wanna
I
do.
just
I wanna
start the
show
show
people-
dumb, and so it doesn't change.
I want to show people what it's like. Okay, well, I want to show people what it's like when I don't, and then you can I don't know, you can all like email me privately or whatever and be like, yeah, man, you should totally stay like that. Stay sober, bro.
It's like the control group. You do one where you're
Exactly.
drinking and one where you're not drinking.
Yeah, but
We have the control group. It's talking in stations.
yeah, I was gonna say people.
I know. I
sober
even
drink are
wake up.
talking
I wake
stations.
up on Saturday mornings and do a real show, where I.
Yeah, but everyone that watches the show tonight is never like. I don't wake up in time to watch that. That show starts so fucking early.
Talking in stations?
Tell
I
me
wake
about
up.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Saturday
Okay, but
mornings I
here's the
usually
thing.
get up at like 10 or 11, and when I get up at 10 or 11, that show's over.
If you were to not do an after show, that show does not start too early.
I don't know what
It's
you're.
because this
what are you
always
talking
bleeds
about?
into 3 hours of drunken slurring.
Which is
You
one
shut
of the
up.
things. Which is one of the things that we actually have to discuss from last week because last week was Drayden's birthday, okay, and I want to say to the people out there that were so generous as to be kicking tips in that night and whatnot. Thank you very much. There is a difference between 4 spot 2-0 and 42 spot 0. I will totally agree with that. But
I
but
talked
whatever.
to the
Thank
person
every-
that did
thank
the
every bit.
42. They said that was not a mistake. So
Well, no, I didn't mean that it was a mistake.
Oh.
I just meant that it is recognized as being fucking different.
oh
all
right, yes.
But the other thing I woke up to was another video the next morning, and that was of Drayden fucking dancing at a midnight bowling
Oh,
thing with
yeah.
a bowling ball in his hand.
You bowled a
And-
300, didn't you?
I missed 300 of it. No, I think my best. We played like 3 games. I think my best score that night was like a 52. It was atrocious.
A 52.
52. I think I threw more. I think I had more gutter balls than I had balls that actually hit pins.
But I was glad that you made it home safely because Drayden has this thing sometimes, where he gets injured late at night. But I sat there and I go, dude, how do you do 2 hours of open comms, another couple of hours, where we disappear off into a channel and just fucking talk and keep drinking for another couple hours, and then you decide I'm going out for midnight bowling.
Well, it was because I got a call from my sister. She's like, "Hey, you want to go bowling?" I'm like, "I'm hammered." She's like, "I'll come pick you up." I'm like, "Sold. Come get me."
So
So
I don't even know how you were still fucking mobile,
I
man.
I
Props
don't
to
know
you.
why the bartender decided it was okay to serve me drinks. They should have gotten in trouble for that. I should have been 86.
That's
the second
freaking
I walked
Idaho,
in that
that's why.
door. Although I
It's
did
Idaho.
leave. I went in there and I ordered one drink and I was like, "Keep it open." And then I woke up the next morning. I'm like, "My card's missing. I bet it's at the bowling alley." It was. So I didn't close my tab.
All right. So, anyways, back on to
Wah,
topic,
wah.
so we can actually move on. This is the last kind of short topic I have here. And this is, you know what? This is something that's actually shit. I got to delete some stuff here. What's that? What's that? I don't like that anymore. Okay. So this one here. Oh, nope, that's bad too. This one here. Also along the lines of this skill point thing. Look, for those people out there that don't think that this whole entire skill point thing doesn't have its fingers, you know, kind of wrapped around a bunch of different topics out there. You've got ghost training. You've got the potential for ghost training because you didn't mean it. You've got the exploit of ghost training. But you've also got something else that was brought up on Reddit. I do not know this to be fact. However, there have been people that have been talking about this in relation to how you can do ghost training and not screw it up kind of a thing. And now there's people that are talking about it from, is lapsing to alpha exploiting you? And I'm going to throw this in there. It is a Reddit post. And basically, the premise of this is that if you are training, you have an Omega account, you are training your Omega Q, you're into a skill, but you then lapse into alpha. Now, if you don't log it back in, under the bug, it will apparently continue to carry on training Omega skills and at Omega speed. However, if you do log it on, some are saying that it actually looks at the skill currently training and readjusts the whole thing as though it had been training as alpha from the beginning. And if that is the case, now we have an issue of you didn't do anything wrong. You actually tried to avoid ghost training, but maybe you lost some skill points in the in the beginning. So
Wait. Let me see if I understand this right. So they log back on. They check the skill queue, and that's when it resets.
Well, they wouldn't
Allegedly?
kind of see it, right?
What I'm
They-
asking is like, how is the ghost like? If that were true, then
It's
the
not
ghost
ghost.
trainers
It's not
would never
ghost
be
because
able
ghost
to.
means it keeps going on at the original speed, behind the scenes, right? This is more, it's misjudging when the alpha part should have kicked in.
But wouldn't that do it for the ghost train as well? When the ghost trainers log back on to sell their skill points.
So long as you complete so long as you complete the skill, right? It doesn't go back to that. It only affects the skill that's apparently in training, which is why
Gotcha.
some stories I heard related to ghost training were, don't log it in as an alpha while it's mid thing because it could mess stuff up. So therefore go and, make sure you re-up your account at the time, gift it time or whatever. But anyways, this was something that came up out on Reddit. I'm merely passing it on because if you're one of those people that looks at these things and kind of, to try and figure it out, I don't know. I don't know that this is absolutely true or not. There was somebody else out there that saw some weird shit, okay, with their thing, and they actually posted an image of it that shows more skill points in the skill than what the skill holds. And they think that happened after the next skill completed or after that skill ultimately completed or something like that. And they filed a petition and it got handled because supposedly it was like they saw that as being excess skills that was in the wrong skill. I don't freaking know. There's a lot of crazy shit that's going on with this whole skill point thing. And what would be really nice is if CCP could communicate to us, right, that, look, we recognize that there are these things going on. We recognize that this is an issue. We are working on it. We hear you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess communication could always be better, but I can see it from their point of view where they're like, hey, we already know this is a problem. We just said it was an exploit. We're not going to address every weird side bug that might be happening with this. The ultimate goal for them is to like stop the ghost training problem at the source. Like I would
Correct.
think the solution is when your account stops being an Omega, you stop training like an Omega, period.
I don't know how the coding would go about it. I mean, in my mind, and I'm sure in a lot of other people's minds, it's like that just seems like a simple fix. But I mean, it's obviously more in depth than that when it comes to the coding. I mean, what we think is just a simple solution could be like thousands of lines of code for them. I don't know if it'll be that much, but
all right, this is kind of the opposite of ghost training. Okay, but basically what I'm trying to explain here is this is sort of the opposite of ghost training. Ghost training means that as long as you don't log it in, right, it will continue training as an Omega, even though fundamentally your account is in alpha status. What this is basically saying is, however, if you log it in as an alpha, it will look at the skill currently in training. So let me give you an example. You have a 32-day skill that's in there. Your Omega runs out with 2 days of training left on that. You log it in as an alpha. It now looks at that 30 days worth of training that you have there, that 32-day skill, and it recalculates the entire thing as though it were being done at an alpha rate.
The entire thing, or from the point of when you drop?
No,
alpha?
because then
The
that would
entire
not be
thing.
a problem. If it was doing it correctly, they're saying that it wouldn't be.
Well,
That
and
would not
the
be
other
a
thing
problem.
that-
They're saying it's looking at the entire skill and recalculating it as though it had been alpha trained the whole time.
Well, see,
And that's why
that's a
people are only
problem.
getting half the skill points they are for that queue, that skill that's in that queue.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, that's kind of a problem because if they do it that way, then people actually are losing skill points that should have been legitimately theirs. But here's the other thing with that. There's a lot of skills that aren't available to alpha pilots, and they can't train them. So while you're logged off and your account drops to alpha, say you're training, Carrier 5, you can't train that as an alpha. So what does it do then? Just go down the list of your queue until it finds a skill that's available to actually train as an alpha?
I don't know.
Because
What I do-
that seems like
that
something.
question might be why ghost training happened in the first place. Maybe that was their whatever solution they put in place to deal with that question had
I
some
think
unintended
Yeah, because
consequences.
that would make it even more complicated to fix.
I think it's all interrelated because back when I heard about ghost training, okay, which was sometime shortly after FanFest, okay, I had heard that there was this thing, okay, where you don't want to log in when you have a skill in training. You don't want to log in as an alpha because number one, it'll shut off the ghost training, but number two, it will do something, and I forget exactly the way it was put to me at the time. So all of this stuff seems to be interrelated. This may in fact be not true. This may in fact be complete fucking voodoo out there, and this part doesn't happen. However, again, it came up on Reddit. There were people commenting that they had seen similar things. I think that this is something where I would love to know if this is not something happening, right? If CCP could tell us, no, that's not happening, because then nobody would need to fucking worry about it. But when you put stuff out there like, that might be potential disinformation that is related to something else that's true, now we're getting into like fake news, Russia stuff.
So skill point witch hunt.
Yeah,
Could be a skill point witch hunt, yeah.
well,
yeah.
and going back to the thing like Chainsaw Plankton said, this is again, it's basically what we were saying before. This is where it's really gypping the person that went to alpha status, because what he says. But say you start training Carrier 5, and then your account goes to alpha, and you log in 10 minutes after knowing that you're alpha, all the training you just did is at 50% of where it should have been. So you lapse for like 10 minutes, and you lose possibly like a week of training. That's kind of crap. I would be a
That's
little upset
gross.
about that.
How about just don't be a bad and have your account automatically renew?
Yeah, I have my own.
No
okay,
pores.
But I mean, what
No
the thing is,
pores
like,
in
if-
Eve, Drayden.
Say wait, what?
No pores.
No, but I'm saying like, even if you like, I have my own auto pay because I just pay for my account. I don't like plexing because I don't make enough money. I don't like grinding money, so I like to keep all my pennies I make. But
How old is your character?
2012, early
Oh,
2012.
okay.
I mean, I'm just one of those people. It's like I don't want to go rat for hours and hours. Like I'm one of those people. It's like I make like 100 million in a day. I'm like done. I'm fucking done making money. Because I don't with the SRP.
No pores,
you don't-
Drayden.
Yeah, but
No
okay, but
pores.
aside from that, like there's people that just plex their account. They don't actually have it set up on any kind of actually monetary pay system, so they can't just have it automatically renew. They have to log in and use a plex.
True, but if you're doing it right, you plex in advance, right? So you're at 30 days, and then you have a plex for the next month in your account while you work towards the other one.
Well, right, but even if you have, you're saying just like preload them. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
at the
you have
same
a
time now
preloaded-
it's like you still have to log in and preload.
Yeah, but if you're logging anyway.
I mean,
whatever.
yeah, that gives you a buffer time, but
Yeah, you have a buffer of a month.
what?
But anyways, I don't want to make a major case out of this because I think it's all interrelated and whatnot. But this instead of working this right here could actually potentially be detrimental to a lot of players that don't know what's actually happening out there, as opposed to something like Ghost Training, which benefited them without them knowing it was happening, or potentially benefited them with them knowing it was happening, right? So you know, I don't know. Overall, CCP needs to deal with this fucking alpha omega skill point freaking issue like post goddamn haste.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of anything, it's just become a big distraction for what I'm sure they would prefer players to be focusing about, which is the stuff they are putting into the game and are developing. It's, I mean, it's a very frustrating issue for those of us that have dealt with CCP before, in that anytime they have a problem that was spotted by player base very early and just keeps being brought up to them through various channels and they don't deal with it, it's extremely frustrating.
Exactly.
Rodin, thanks
And
for the
really all we've asked for on a number of these things is, you know what? Acknowledge it, right? Acknowledge that there is an issue, because what that does is at least tells people, okay, yes, this is true. No, that bullshit over there is not true. But we know that you're on it. Okay. It may take them a while to figure out how to fix this whole Ghost Training, how to fix this whole skill point bug that is at least leading to the potential for exploitation. But based on this right here, may also be leading to something else as well. So, you know, if you acknowledge it, at least people are, you know that you're on it, and you know they don't have to sit there and be like, 7 months later, you haven't done anything about this. But anyways, okay, so moving on to shinier topics. As we said at the beginning of the night, Alexeyev was a CSM member for CSM 4 back in like the super old days. That's back during like 6-month term time. Was also a member of CSM 7. Now, for those who don't know what CSM 7 is, CSM 7 was the term immediately following CSM 6, which was during the Summer of Rage. Okay, it was also the last. CSM to use the first past the post voting system before CSM 8 moved into the single transferable vote. So he kind of comes back at a time when things like monetization were still a discussion topic, and changes to the CSM were still going on.
Was that the CSM where Matani had his whole fiasco, or was that 8?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so 7 was the CSM where our chairman got elected and then got banned and got removed, and we had to figure that whole situation out as well.
The Burn Jita thing and all that started up.
Burn Jita was during, yeah.
Because I think the first Burn Jita was like in retaliation to Matani's ban.
See, Burn Jita was actually, I believe that it was already kind of like an in the works thing.
Oh,
but,
okay, so they just.
But I believe that when he went through his thing, they kind of like front triggered it. Maybe was, completely wrong, but whatever.
I something like that, but it was one of those things that they always talked about and never like really had the. Never like really went out and did it. I don't know if they were planning on doing it anyway that year, but certainly the whole ban situation was like the catalyst. Like all of a sudden everyone was really hyped to do it, and they got everything they needed together. I'm sure they timed and themed it to make the most out of the situation.
Okay, Noisy Gamer saying Burn Jita was a reward for Matani getting 10,000 votes.
Right.
Oh, Xandril's confirming. So okay, so
correct.
That was before I even started playing. So.
Correct, but it actually, when it kicked off though, was in that post
right. That's what I'm saying. Like they repurposed what they claimed it was all about, right. But it was already being planned out before he got banned.
But now, Alex, you're also a Twitch moderator. Is that correct? Moderator?
It's like
I manage the Twitch admins.
You manage the Twitch admins.
Oh,
you're like the
guy.
Official capacity, so I'm not going to.
Why did you bring him here, Dirk? He's gonna ban the channel.
Man. It's like the John Gotti of Twitch.
Gonna ban us while he's on. He's like, here, watch this. Watch how I can shut this shit down.
He's gonna goat you into doing something stupid, and he's gonna shut it all down.
Yeah, he's the John Gotti of Twitch. He's the
Teflon
mod.
Ban your best behavior.
He's doing hard memes. Gotta ban him.
Spider.
Yeah. Well, here. Let's get the Twitch piece out of the way real quick. How is that? How is it like working for Twitch and dealing with Twitch admins?
It's been great. Before Twitch, I was working on another streaming site, so the transition was relatively easy. The site that I was on was like way smaller, but I'm doing basically everything community management for that old site. So I was doing moderation, customer support, their social media, streamer relations, policy setting, copyright stuff, all that. Now I just do the one thing, which is managing the admin team. And it was
So
one of
how-
my favorite parts of my old job, and now it's all I do for this job. So I've really enjoyed it. Twitch has been a great place to work for. The team is really great. It's been a super positive experience, all told. Very crazy, busy experience because there's like 30 of these guys.
So
Do you only get
uh,
paid in like Twitch
bits.
bucks or
Yeah,
like
he gets a
yeah,
check.
dude,
He gets
a,
subscribers.
He gets a bit check.
subscribers.
Yeah.
I get paid.
Where's
in,
my sub button,
Bezos
goddammit?
emotes.
He gets paid
paid
in
in Bezos
Amazon
emotes.
Prime Cash.
yeah.
Bitcoins.
Only Prime sub tokens.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk to you a little bit about CSM4 and CSM7. You were back, you were back in there around that time. That was okay. So CSM4, you experienced that. CSM7 after the Summer of Rage, when I believe that kind of the future of the CSM really began to take on a different sort of role. What were the differences between 4 and 7 for you?
4 was 4 was interesting in that compared to 7, it was less work, but more frustrating and burned me out even more somehow. The actual day-to-day workload was not as bad. Communication with CCP was not nearly as good as it was. The summits were pretty discouraging in that we feel like we'd have pretty productive discussions, but it didn't seem like it actually went anywhere. Particularly in the CSM4 summit, famously we had one of the Goon representatives literally slam his hand on a table over and over again, like about Dominion, because it was so busted, and just nothing from Dominion for so long. And we knew then, or at least the high level roadmap was laid out of like planetary interaction and that kind of stuff, and we're like, okay, I guess it sounds cool. When are you gonna fix Dominion? Like, it was a lot of those kind of questions. And by the time CSM7 came in, the Summer of Rage had just happened, and we had a bit of a different mission. So CSM's 4 mission became, well, we couldn't really get any actual movement done on the things that EVE really needed to progress as a game. So the focus became, what can we do for the CSM to set future CSMs up to be able to be more effective at doing that? So that's where the year-long terms came in, and that's where the official recognition of the CSM as a stakeholder in the development process came in, where they were actually going to bring CSMs in earlier, get them involved, get them access to more information, hook them up with developer teams on a more daily basis, that kind of stuff. So prior to CSM4, like, none of that was even on the table. CSM4 got the year-long term, got the stakeholder status, got the ball rolling on what eventually would become CSMs 6 and 7, really taking that into fruition, going through a crisis which put it all to the test, and taking things to sort of the next step.
Now, when you were in 4, that was still when communication between CCP and the CSM was funneling through that chairman position, right?
Yes, pretty much everything went through the chair. Obviously, the summits did not. And our day-to-day work was not really interacting with devs. Like, when I was on CSM7, certainly 8, 9, 10, etc., like, you're interacting with devs on a daily basis through a joint comms channel, basically. That was not a thing. We actually had regular meetings where we discussed player proposals and like things we wanted to put on the agenda for the summit, and no devs were present in these. It was just us, and it was like a weekly thing. There was very little communication with staff, certainly staff outside of our official SM contact. And then you would go to the summits, and you'd be interacting with CCP staff who had really no idea who you were, or what you were doing there, or what your name was. They had no prior relationship whatsoever.
Now, when you come back for CSM 7 after that, or let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to recently, okay? The late spring of mild discontent, okay? And you hear people out there, or you read people out there talking about, oh, communication with CCP was bad, is bad, and things like that, right? I mean, like, and it seems like they have no perspective. Like, they don't know what bad communication actually was. It may not be great, it may not be perfect, but they don't know what bad can actually be. Is that correct?
Millennials.
These young
Well, we
kids
went
these
from
days.
no communication to bad communication to now imperfect communication. But still, it's regular for the most part. It's good. It's less a summer of rage and more like a month of complaining. And now people are like all of a sudden all pretty much fine. Like, oh, there was a big fight over Citadel. Ghost training got, not dealt with, but we got what we wanted, which was acknowledged as an exploit. And now people are more or less chill. Like, all of a sudden,
I'm still
there's
mad
no
about my
Jita
fighters.
riots. There's no flying the CSM on emergency summit to Iceland. There's no joint press releases in front of cameras assuring people that everything was going to be fine. It's not in the context of them having introduced no significant balance patches, features, or fixes for nearly 3 years, which is the case with CSM 6 and 7.
I mean, it's not to discount the fact that there are not some underlying areas of discontent out there, that there may in fact be brewing out there underneath the surface. Fatigue with how long structures are taking, or problems with individual nerfs or changes, or when something like ghost training comes up or whatever. It's not to take anything away from that, but when people sit there and say communication is bad, CCP's not listening to feedback, it's like you have no idea what not listening to feedback actually feels like. Not listening to feedback means literally don't hear you at all. Not at all.
It's the difference between them being upset at one of their favorite ships or favorite ship classes getting nerfed in a balance patch, and Eve having no balance patches for like 6 significant releases. That's the difference.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just to kind of put things into perspective so that you can reasonably look at what's going on now, okay, and recognize that, you know what, CCP was hearing what was going on out here recently, but it didn't require people going and Foss shooting a monument, or it didn't require a whole bunch of people unsubbing. We still have some things that need to be dealt with, but guess what? The CSM that exists today operates in such a different environment than what it was, not just when you were in 4, but even when, when Alex and the rest of the crew from 6 was there at the time it was happening. I mean, they were having to actually pave a new path because the CSM just had a different communication method back then.
Yeah, 7's job was really 2 things. One was keeping CCP's feet to the fire in a nice way to make sure that the things they committed to on 6 were actually going to be followed through. And the other one was figuring out what the new normal for the CSM and CCP was going to be, because they had no communication for the longest time. CSM 5 had more communication, a bigger role, but they were still put to the sidelines. CSM 6, between the people on it and the circumstances around it, CCP was sort of forced to take them seriously. And now it's like, okay, the CSM is actually involved in our development, actually involved in this company. We take them seriously now. Day to day, when things are not in crisis, what does that look like? And that was sort of one of the bigger high-level challenges that CSM 7 had to figure out. How do we interact with devs? At what stage do we give good feedback about their releases? At one point, and this is my proudest output on the CSM, I had the opportunity to provide them sort of a roadmap of how to build better releases in general. The short version is, we were at this meeting, CCP's acting executive producer at the time, like, hey, here's what we're thinking about putting in the next patch. And we're like, okay. And then after they got off the phone, we had another call with just the CSM members, no CCP staff. We're like, did we all hear that right? Is this patch is gonna blow ass, right? Like, this is the most nothing burger release I've ever seen. And everyone else was like, yeah, I'm glad it wasn't just me. So we had to like go, okay, we see what you guys are trying to do here. We really don't think this is a good direction. And they came back to us with, well, we don't really know what better direction to go in. And I had pitched this idea to the CSM earlier, and they kind of shot it down like, oh, CCP would never be interested in hearing that kind of feedback from us. Like, that's too much about business. I was like, this seems like a good idea to bring it up. Can we give you this thing, which is like how to design releases that will not suck in terms of long-term feature planning, stuff that addresses needs of older players and younger players at the same time, how to repurpose fixing older stuff as a new feature, sort of like how they did with Citadels. Obviously, they haven't gotten everything perfect, but high level, you could still see the idea. Like, oh, we need to fix passcode. How can we do that in a way that makes the game fresh and new and it brings new stuff into it? You know, and not all the releases have been great, but I think the direction of how they're planning them out has been a lot better. And certainly the level of communication that we established in 7 was a good starting point for other CSMs to build off of and take things to the next level.
Now, so CSM 6, towards the end of CSM 6, I think it was unveiled at their second summit that they were going to be shifting over to the single transferable vote system. However, it was not going to kick in until CSM 8, so therefore you were still elected under the first past the post model. During your session, did you have input into that whole single transferable vote thing? And did you guys express similar concerns that 6 did, related to this will solidify kind of organized groups as far as that voting system went?
We definitely didn't make the call or anything like that. But we did get our input. I think one of the overriding points was made by some of the representatives of larger alliances, which is any system you create is going to be gamed by us because we have the numbers and we're willing to put in the time to organize, to figure out a way to min-max the crap out of it. So my view, and I'm not going to speak for everybody else in that CSM, but my view was like, okay, well, if that's going to be the case, how do we get if we can't really design around preventing big blocks, being able to leverage their numbers without making some really unintuitive, undemocratic voting system. What's the next best thing? How can we make sure that candidates are able to run based on their merits rather than just who they're a part of? And to me, I think the single transferable vote goes a long way toward that because now people can give their votes to candidates that they feel like they agree with, even if they don't believe that those candidates have enough power blocks backing them or whatever to seriously get elected. Your votes aren't wasted. And I feel like that's better than what we had.
And I don't know any other voting methods other than just like I don't even fully understand the math behind the single transferable vote. I get the main gist of the idea, but I don't know the exact specifics. I've had it explained to me 5 times and it still just goes over my head. But there's that, and then there's just a basic full-on just 1-to-1 vote, democratic vote. But when it comes to, I don't know if there's really a way you can change. That's if you're going to have a voting system and everyone in the game can vote. The fact that there is power blocks and organize all these massive amounts of people to vote, I don't think there is a way to. There's no way you can just counter the blocks having superiority just because of, like, when you get a vote and you have the majority of the people that go and vote following a vote structure proposed to them by the people leading their group. There's no way around that. Like, that it's going to happen that way. And aside from just getting people that don't normally vote to go and vote, because if you get all
that's the way.
Right, we've said, like, HiSec has way more people than NullSec, but the majority of the votes come from nullsec. And so the only way to prevent nullsec from dominating the voting system is to get the people that don't vote in highsec to actually go and vote. And I don't.
No,
like
the majority of coordinated votes come from highsec. Whether or not
Right.
the majority of actual votes come from highsec
that's a better way to
is
put it.
potentially disputable. But okay, so when you look back at the minutes, okay, when CCP unveiled the STV to CSM6, right? The minutes show that CSM6 basically said, well, this is going to be better for organized groups. We're no longer going to have to throw away excess votes in order to ensure we get somebody on. The STV does, in fact, take into account the will of the voter better and eliminates things like excess voting and undervoting. However, it does play into the hands of organized groups even better than just single first past the post. Because if you really want to get the Mittani on, you'll throw 10,000 votes on him to do it.
I would challenge that a little bit because the goons specifically had already demonstrated the ability to very accurately estimate how many votes they needed to get a given candidate on. The only reason they put 10,000 votes behind the Mittani on 6 was to prove that they could. Prior, they had been able to elect multiple candidates, and going forward, they would have been able to elect multiple candidates. But I would say that the STV system takes that ability out of the hands of an organized bloc that has pollsters and math guys that can estimate this stuff out and enough coordination to say, this number of players, go vote for this guy, this set of players, go for this other guy. Have that level of organization, you can't do that. With STV, it sort of democratizes that ability, and now everyone has the ability to perfectly, ascribe their votes to the optimum number of candidates, rather than leaving that ability only in a super organized group's hands.
And I agree, because again, I think that STV actually takes in the will of the voter. That look, if this guy that's only going to get 30 votes, I still want to vote for him because I like him. Okay, but guess what? I still have now a whole vote left. My vote still is intact fully at that point. However, given the fact that you've got the trickle down method that goes into the STV, that just allows them to be able to kind of say, all right, look, if we want to get candidate X on, and we know that we are going to be able to have excess votes after that, that's going to flow to number 2. Really, even Goons / the Imperium have a hard time with the third one, right? They have a hard time even under the current circumstances. If you have excess votes where, hey, excess votes go toward the top guy because we want to ensure he gets on, that's less votes that end up going towards guy number 2. So I mean, there are different ways of looking at this. Overall, I think the STV is fairer. Certainly, at the same time when they came out with, I believe it was the 14-man slate, or maybe that was the year prior, or whatever it was, provided a bit more diversity. But for people out there that think that these things are nullsec dominated and all this kind of stuff, just guess what? In the CSM that the Mittani chaired, CSM6, that had Vile Rat, that had these other people on it, that was probably proportionally just as dominated by nullsec figures, their concern that they expressed, and it's in the minutes at the time, was that STV would actually give them a marginal benefit over the first past the post system.
Do you guys know Rain's here?
Hey, Rain.
What up, baby? You got off a plane? Rain on a plane?
Oh my gosh, how are you guys?
I'm tired of this motherfucking rain on this motherfucking plane.
I feel like you're on a phone comms or something.
Is that might okay? Oh, 1 sec.
Are you in a cab?
Is that better?
It sounds better.
Not really.
Actually, I thought you just sounded normal.
She's definitely louder, and it actually almost sounds a little bit clearer. But I'll turn it up.
So, here, wait. Do you guys remember like 2 weeks ago when I called in with the goon guy?
Oh yeah, that goon guy. He's from that place.
Wasn't that last? I thought that was last weekend.
No, was it last week? Maybe it was last weekend, but that
It
was
was.
super fun. And
See, I was messed up last week, and I still remember it was last week.
dude, so like we all went to this Korean karaoke bar and we sang, and I had no idea Wild could sing, but it was probably one of the funniest experiences watching him sing like Back in Black. But anyway, Goon's Not a Party. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks, Dirk. How are you
Yeah.
guys?
No, I wish I could have gotten up there for that, but wish I could have gotten up there to see you. It would have been a lot easier for me to see you in New York than well, because I get to Des Moines like how often. But yeah, no, I'm glad you were able to go out and have a good time. I understand that one night was a little bit difficult for you. I understand that you had some bad pasta.
Yeah, so like, Dirk, you always give me shit for like, oh, blah blah blah, gluten free, and like everyone gives me shit because it's like super hipster. Well, it turns out restaurants will directly lie to you. So I got the menu and I said, oh, do you guys have something gluten free? I had read online on your website, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh no, just pick something like we do pastas, we'll do this, we'll modify the food. I'm like, okay, well I'll take this pasta, but make it gluten free. And they're like, okay, no worries. And I get my food. I'm like, is this gluten free? And they're like, yes, it is gluten free. I'm like, okay, I've like confirmed it 2 to 3 times. Like, I'll just eat it, and unless like it, I don't know if you guys know, but like it's kind of difficult sometimes, especially with sauces, like to tell if a pasta is gluten free. Like with something like bread, it's very
Isn't
easy to
pasta
tell.
just
I don't even
made
know
of
how to
gluten?
tell if something's
Well, you can have
gluten-free in
gluten
general,
free.
because I've tasted things that are quote unquote gluten free and non, and it's like you could, if it's like wheat pasta versus white like just general white flour pasta or whatever, you can taste the difference because it's different substance that's it's made from, but it's like
It's
you
it's
can't
kind of
taste
difficult,
gluten.
but
Gluten is not a flavor.
well, so what you look for is you look for the non-gluten, right? So if it's not made of wheat, then you look for like say corn or rice or something like that. So if something has like say like it's floured or breaded, I can tell if it's wheat or if it's corn because I can taste the corn. And then the wheat one has a very distinct texture.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
like, if they said they had gluten free and then you got sick, they probably just the cooks probably just didn't make it.
yeah,
Didn't,
well, so
they
like
didn't read that specifically and just like this pasta made it, bam, send it out, and it's just normal pasta.
yeah, and so like I was like super pissed because like at that point it's like what do you do? Like do you call the restaurant and like complain? And it's like okay, sure, maybe I'll get $20 back. But then I'm sick for like 2 hours plus like the lasting effects on my body. So like when I get sick, it's like I throw up. And it's not like, "Oh no, like you ate food poisoning and just like kind of throw up a little bit." It's like, "No, I like throw up for 2 hours and there's no stopping it. Like I literally cannot
I felt
stop
bad.
it."
I felt like I was kind of
You were like a
girlfriending you that night,
gluten-filled
holding your
hot
hair
fire
back
hose.
over Skype.
So the reason I was talking to you guys was one to like kind of evidence the fact because like Skype has timestamps, so I can evidence how frequently I was vomiting, as well as like it's like really dramatic, like because like you're sick and then like there's nothing you can do and you get in like this like it's like a weird phase because like there's nothing you can do to help yourself and your body is just like oh my god I'm dying. Like that's why I was throwing up was because my body thinks I'm dying. That it's kind of like when you get like say like a kidney infection. Your body knows it's sick and it doesn't really know what to do, so you like throw up, you get a fever, your body just freaks out because it thinks you're dying and it's trying to like get rid of like the poison. Well, that's how my body reacts with gluten. So it's like my body's like so dramatic, and usually what I do is call my mom, but my mom is more dramatic than I am. So what she'll do is she'll like call my doctor, and my doctor will be like, oh no, she has to keep an eye on her blood sugar. Call her every hour on the hour and don't let her sleep because she has to check her blood sugar because heaven forbid it goes low in the middle of the night. So like I just ignore my mom because she did that once and it was terrible.
Sorry, there's a firework outside. So
It's quite the
wait,
ordeal.
so does the gluten thing, because you're diabetic as well, like does the gluten thing actually affect your blood sugar too?
Yeah, so
Well, if you're vomiting constantly, yeah, of course.
Well, I'm
Drake.
saying because like I was saying like I know
Catch on,
celiac.
Come on, Drayden.
No,
I
hold
thought
on.
you were
I
Drayden, the science guy.
Get with it.
I'm not a
You're gonna have
medical
the science
doctor.
guy.
I'm
I can
an
explain
amateur
it.
astrophysicist.
Amateur
like,
astrophysicist
rocket
and
surgery
Chuck
and
Todd
brain science.
impersonator.
yeah, because I know that celiac, you can't have gluten and it makes you really sick. I don't know the specifics, and I know diabetes, everything with blood
Celiacs.
sugar. I didn't
Aren't they on
Celiacs.
Doctor Who?
celiac. Yeah, celiac is like when you can't eat like what she's a celiac. She has
yeah,
celiac.
I have celiac. It's called celiac disease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it means that you can't have gluten. So I didn't know that was a separate thing with or combined
Yeah,
with the blood
so-
sugar as well. I thought that was just
So
like
I'm a
something else.
yeah. So type 1. So I'm type 1 diabetic, which means I have to take insulin via shots. It's not like I was terrible in my youth and I got really fat and developed type 2. This is type 1. So my body doesn't produce insulin. So when I eat, I have to take insulin. So what happens is I'll eat pasta, I'll take my insulin, and then insulin obviously isn't just like instant and fast acting. It, it will act, but it goes over time. Your body processes the food. The insulin acts as like a key to give your body the energy or whatever.
So like, do you look down on type 2 diabetics? Like, like they did it to themselves, or?
Yeah, she just said
like
that.
you can prevent
So
type 2 diabetes,
you're a
but you cannot
diabetic
prevent.
shamer.
Yeah,
You
type
can
1 is
prevent type
genetic.
2. No, it's somewhat genetic. It's autoimmune, so they
Yeah.
don't really
Well,
know what
you
causes
can
it.
develop type 1 diabetes if you have type 2, I think.
You can develop
They're-
type 2
they're
if you
kinda
have
closers,
that's
though.
only if
Rain
you
is
level
like
up,
a true
though.
blood. Rain is a
But yeah,
true
like
blood
type
diabetic.
2 is
Yeah.
you gotta
No,
watch your
pure
blood
born.
sugar. Type 1 is like your body just doesn't make insulin. You have
Yeah,
to shoot
so-
up insulin. You have to manage your blood sugar.
Yeah,
very-
because if you start developing type 2, it's because you've eaten so much that your body has grown resistant to the insulin it makes. And so therefore you have to take medicine so that your body doesn't resist it
Right,
as
yeah.
much.
So you're
my
okay
grandma,
now,
my
though,
grandma
yeah?
is type 2 diabetic. So like she doesn't have to take insulin shots, but she does have to watch her blood sugar. Type
Yep.
1 is like you have to eat, which
Because
increases
she's a
your blood-
grandma. That's what they do.
Yeah, like you have to eat, which is going to increase your blood sugar, and so you have to take insulin to mitigate your blood sugar. Otherwise, you're just gonna die.
Yeah, and so the issue with being both celiac and diabetic is so I eat the pasta, I take my insulin, and it's like, okay, 2 hours later I'm sick. So the food is out of my system, but the insulin's still in my system. And so it's not like my body's just like, oh, like if, a normal human being without type 1 diabetes would just be like, oh, just stop making insulin. Like,
Yeah, but
there's no food.
Yeah,
but for
your
me,
insulin-
it's,
your
yeah.
insulin you took by shot. You took by
Yep.
injection. So it's not like you're puking out like insulin.
oh, no. It's
no,
like,
no, you just
yeah,
you're.
it's,
But well, and
You're
Yeah.
puking out the other
The other
stuff.
thing
That
is
the
that you
insulin
can-
was
it
there
can
to kind of
flip the-
offset as well.
the thing with type 1 diabetes, it can flip the other way. So it's like you can eat too much and not take insulin. Now your blood sugar is too high, which gets you really sick and can kill you. Also, you can take insulin if you don't get enough blood sugar. Now your blood sugar gets too low, and that can have like a similar. It's a different situation, but
yeah.
it could have a similar effect.
It's,
You could
it's
die
just
from
as
too low blood
dangerous.
sugar.
It's,
And that's what
easy.
happened when she vomited up all her non-gluten-free pasta.
Yeah, so
She had insulin and no food.
yeah, so what I normally do, because you don't just want to stop giving yourself insulin because that can just like create its own havoc. So like I have an insulin pump, so I dialed that down. Like I had it giving me like less, like 30% instead of 100% of what I normally receive. And then I like stayed awake throwing up, and then I stayed awake like an hour after, and I ate. Like I always bring food with me everywhere, part of being diabetic. So I ate something, and I was like, okay, like do I feel okay? Will I like die in the middle of the night? Who the fuck knows? So I just like ate some food and then went to bed.
But you're okay now, though, right?
Yeah, I didn't die.
So we can like start making fun of gluten free again.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
should
just,
make fun
I
of
just
it.
want to. I just want to know if it's too soon still or
Glad
no.
you cleared
you
that
can
up that
always
you
make
didn't
fun of
die.
it.
Like,
Yeah, but like so
Tito's is gluten free. That's why Rain
is
can
gluten-free, yeah.
drink Tito's.
yes, and actually, so there's a lot of alcohols that aren't gluten free, but I've never reacted to an alcohol. So like people are like, oh, try this beer, and I'm like, can't really drink beer. They're like, oh, you have to try it.
Because
So
they
I'm
just
like,
put it
okay.
on the label.
like
But Rain's like, oh, it's alcohol. It'll be worth it. Just
so
in
is it
case.
mostly wheat stuff that has gluten? Because I'm
Yeah. So
it's weird because I
gluten-
have a cousin that has celiacs, but I'm still very uneducated when it comes to celiacs. I know the
So-
basis of it, but I don't know a lot of the specifics.
So gluten is like a protein that's found in wheat, barley, and rye. But the thing is, it's also considered like oats are considered having gluten because of the way they're grown. Because they're grown, I believe, very close to like wheat products. So a lot of times they intermix.
Not Quaker Oats.
No, Quaker Oats, yeah, they're not gluten free. And same with like Cheerios. Cheerios are supposed to be gluten free, but they mechanically separate the oats or whatever. And so there's been multiple times where they've had contamination of it, and like they just weren't able to like sort it all at the same time. So what you have are like gluten-free, like certified gluten-free oats are just like grown by themselves, like without any other products around, et cetera, or not products, I guess, like
Segregate,
plants.
if you will.
Yeah.
Well then, well it's okay. So Mattress WX saying the alcohol kills gluten like it kills. That's not necessarily because there are alcohols that have gluten, like wheat. A lot of wheat, like whiskey.
So
I'm sure
so-
whiskeys are not gluten free.
You know this is not the fucking gluten free show, right? I mean, like we're
Well,
just trying to
we're-
make
we're
some conversation
educating
with
people.
Rain to get her into the fucking
Let me
mix.
just change some titles and
No,
just
no,
scrap
no.
it.
It's no. He has a good point though, because so like if there's a vodka made from wheat, they distill it so much that it's just the alcohol, and you don't really have like the sugars that it came from. So it in essence is gluten free, but technically like they're not allowed to say it's gluten free. Whereas a beer really has like what is it, like the barley with it or whatever.
Right,
so you
yeah.
had to be super careful. So like hard
Hops.
liquors. Yeah.
Well,
so
what about hard liquors that are made from like wheat and rye and stuff, like
I think
whiskeys
she
and
could-
bourbons and scotches and stuff? Because those
She
are
could
like,
probably drink a rye because it's heavily distilled, but she can't drink, like she said, a beer because there's
Okay.
barley like right in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just
Don't
gotta be
forget
a
the
little
hops.
careful.
well, is hops gluten?
Probably. Everything's gluten, man.
No, hops is not. Hops
What
is
is
lawn
hops?
clippings, isn't it?
Hops is not.
It's
a,
like lawn clippings.
It's hops is not a
So I can
grain.
make beer out of my lawn?
Yeah, hops are gross. Don't.
Yeah, grass beer is
hops,
good.
Yuck.
Grass beer.
Put some maple syrup in it. Wait,
Yeah,
can
so-
you ferment maple syrup? Hold on.
Maple
Wait,
syrup beer.
You two should
You
know
can
this.
ferment anything, really.
What? Why have they not made a syrup liquor?
Probably because it would
So-
be terrible.
The process of making
You
syrup
drink
is you
it.
take the sap from the tree and you boil it. In that process, you would boil off any alcohol you had before you made the syrup, right?
Yeah, but
so
what if you
could
fermented it and added it to like a hard liquor, and then you had
Well,
a
it's-
syrup flavored
Well, then
liquor?
it would just be fucking
could
maple
totally do
flavored
that.
liquor.
There's maple flavored whiskey. There's maple flavored Crown Royal. I have some in my. Well, I had some. I drank it,
Oh,
but you know, you can take the sap and make a beer out of it. But as soon as you boil it into a syrup, you're boiling off all the alcohol that you had.
okay.
Now, do any of you have a peanut allergy that we should know about so that we don't have peanut butter sandwiches on the table during the show?
My
Yeah,
kids aren't allowed to
yeah.
have peanuts at school.
Because of
Which
other
is a
kids,
fucking
right?
killer.
Not because of your
Ooh.
kids, who I believe are probably
because of
strong.
the risk of another kid.
Wait.
There's not even another kid there. There's a risk that their kid might
okay.
show up one day and just
But like
fucking
a
eat my
peanut-
kid's lunch and die.
Well, the peanut allergy is a lot different. So those ones are where you need like an EpiPen and you can like start suffocating. It's like
Yeah,
allergies where it's
Nut
like
allergies
you
are
breathe
really
it.
bad.
Yeah,
like-
like I don't have any of that. Like I can touch
They're
weed.
pretty
I
lethal
can,
very quick. If,
yeah.
We didn't
like-
have any of that when I was a kid. You know why? Because our parents gave us fucking peanuts from the day we were born. We didn't develop any of that shit.
but
Well,
it-
because the
well,
babies died when they were young when they were
No,
growing
that's
I was
not
gonna
what
say,
happened.
like, if
That's
you,
not what
like-
happened. Old wives' tale.
So you can develop an allergy. Like there's people that don't have an allergy to something when they're a kid, and then as they get older, they develop an allergy to that.
Yeah.
But then
When
there's
I
people that
was
just have
younger,
an
I used to
allergy
be able
from
to eat
birth. So
peanuts.
it's like if you're allergic to nuts or any kind of specific nut when you're born, and then you get fed peanuts, you could very well die.
I used to be able to eat the peanut butter like cracker snacks back in grade school, but I'm very allergic to nuts now. It seems to actually be getting worse over time if that's possible. Like I used to be able to go into like a peanut store as long as I didn't eat anything, and now I've noticed myself getting itchy and sneezy whenever there's like even peanuts anywhere around me. So
I-
Back
learned
when I
how
was
to
a
eat
kid, we
one.
didn't have peanut allergies. We didn't have autism. You know what? This is all shit that came around after.
I'm really disappointed. Like maybe it's a Northwestern
millennials.
accent.
and cancer. We didn't have cancer.
I'm really
either.
disappointed that you're all pronouncing peanuts like very precisely, because I mean I say peanuts, but like up here in the Northwest, when people say it quick, they don't go peanuts, they say peanuts, and so like they're talking like, oh
Peanuts.
yeah, it sounds a lot like penis, and so they're just like, oh man,
It's
yeah, I got a penis
dangerously close to
allergy. It's like
penis.
you got a penis allergy. Sorry, I had to.
Drayden made a terrible joke and is the only one
It's,
laughing.
no, it's not a.
Come on. Did Drayden just rant and nobody heard it?
Oh.
No, he made a terrible joke.
No,
Like
it's
you're
not
allergic
even-
to
no.
penis,
See, they hear
and then he
terrible
starts
jokes, Drayden.
cracking
If you
up.
had ranted that, nobody would have known to
It's
have
not
it.
supposed to be a joke. It's an actual just observation I found funny because I'm not joking. People up here say peanuts all the time.
Okay,
It's
well,
like,
I mean,
can
maybe
I get
they
some more
mean that,
peanuts
though.
down here?
I can't even be around a bag of peanuts.
You're the kid at that table?
If someone were to send me a bag full of peanuts, I would be just out. To bring this podcast full circle.
All right. You know what?
Before we move
we're-
on from the
yeah, go.
CSM stuff, I got 2 points to make from conversations that were happening.
What do you
in the
mean?
chat
We
while
were
talking.
like well beyond the fucking CSM point. We were into
I'm
like
bringing it back. I'm bringing
crazy
it back.
allergy shit. But yeah, bring it back to CSM.
There are 2 big myths on the CSM that I see propagated a lot in the chat, and not even people may believe them, but they're just not true. First is that there are no high sec voices on the CSM. There have been for many years past, from 7 onwards, basically. And the other is that the nullsec guys on the CSM somehow only do things that benefit them.
It's
That's not been
amazing
my
how they do that,
experience
right?
either of the times that I've been there.
I will say it does seem like a lot of nullsec players are a lot more self-serving than other regions. Maybe it's because I don't know the other regions, but
I'm talking about their CSM, like the elected CSM representatives. And I don't know that it's true for everybody. I'm sure there have been one or two null CSMs where it's been the opposite, but for the most part, and certainly in all my personal experiences on 4 and 7, and working closely with the folks on 5, that null CSM.
Cut out.
yeah, he froze too. I was waiting for it. I was like, oh man, there's the dramatic pause. It's gonna be really important.
He was going to say null CSM candidates are the best.
Yeah, he's got a very stoked look on his face. I'm gonna leave his picture up there.
That's actually the best.
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually on camera?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
somehow
And
figured
you're
it
not.
out.
Wow,
I don't know
what?
what he did. Oh, he's
We
back.
had to.
What did I cut out?
Oh,
You cut
yeah,
out.
you're
You froze on a really funny
yeah,
face.
man, I want to go back to like where you cut out at, and I can't even remember like what part of the sentence
He
you
was
were at.
saying something about null CSM.
Yeah, no place, and then you cut
Oh,
out and
like-
your picture froze.
Null CSMs, they support the game as a whole. They're not out there making as if there were like some set of changes that would only benefit a specific alliance somehow. Aside from like, oh, you just want to buff Delve. Like no
Not
CSM
possible.
is out there doing that.
It's because
Yeah, they
nullsec
they
people
want
are
a
well
healthy
balanced. They're
game.
well-rounded. They're well-rounded Eve players.
They tend
Are
to
they?
be, and their alliances tend to have players that play in all parts of the game. Like Goons have wormhole guys, they have high
Exactly.
sec guys, they have low sec guys. You know, maybe this particular representative isn't one of those, but he feels beholden to those players. And just generally, people that get elected to the CSM, you know, apart from a few notable exceptions, which didn't last very long, they basically get there because they care about the game. The ones that are active anyway. So if your CSM is out there doing anything, he's probably doing something because he's passionate about Eve and cares about making it better. Whereas he either didn't run or got elected and hasn't been contributing anything because he was either in it for himself or whatever. But no one that I know of, again, except for maybe one guy, was like, I want to go to make sure that my alliance is somehow put above all other alliances. Or like,
Who's that
I-
one guy?
I'm just saying that there may be one exception, but I don't know.
And his
someone
name
could
rhymes
possibly think
with.
of one. I don't know.
I was trying to think of a CSM member name to rhyme.
I'm trying to think of it.
Schmitani?
It was that
Even
guy.
Even Matani was.
No, yeah, exactly.
He
Buzzy
steered
Plebe.
the CSM through
Cough,
a
cough,
really
judge,
huge
cough.
crisis.
Poor judge.
Summer of Rage sucked. Like
Summer of
Matani
Rage
was
sucked,
probably
and then
one of
you
the best
know, then he
people to
had
be
a
there
he,
for that
he had a
crisis.
PR crisis that didn't like work out, you know,
Well,
too early in the term. But
The
you know,
funny thing
whatever.
about the Summer of Rage is, the people that were there talk of it as like it was obviously something they hated because they got so pissed about all this stuff there. But they talk like, oh man, back at the like this nostalgia talk about Summer of Rage, like they're almost like
Because you weren't
fond-
there, man.
Yeah, they're
you weren't
fondly
there when the shit
remembering
went
how
down.
pissed they were at the people that made the game, and like, oh man, you missed out. It was such bullshit. It was awful. You should have been there.
That's like a huge crisis moment. It brought the players together in a way that I don't think they ever have been.
Exactly. Summer of Rage was like the 60s with fucking riots at Kent State where people were getting shot by National Guard. And then, like, this late spring of mild discontent was more like, you know, some people burning some shit out at Berkeley while they get mad
Yeah.
because somebody said something bad.
Berkeley riots. With the hate
Exactly.
speech.
This is how, you know, believe me, Eve follows fucking real life way more than people think. It just does it in kind of like an accelerated manner. But you know what? Moving on to another topic, and I'm not even sure because I can't talk about this stuff very much. Tech 3 Cruisers, the Tech 3 Cruiser focus group, and the changes that have come out of that are now out on Sissy. We have got those people that are really freaking like, you know, into how can we change this stuff and whatnot. Or you know, how can we work with the changes that are coming? Which number one, we know are going from 5 subsystems down to 4 subsystem categories. and then 3 subsystems per category underneath that. There have been people that have been out there playing with this and kind of road testing it and whatnot. And one of the things that they came up with, apparently, which I'll link in channel here, is a 12.3 kilometer per second Loki with, what is this, like 617 deeps on heavy missile launchers. Posting
That's
it there,
be unkillable and be able to kill everything.
Posting it
No
there
big deal.
in Twitch chat.
You'll never hit that thing, and it will.
Well, hey, you know what?
Start training Lokis.
And it's
Start
since it's
training
missiles or
Lokis,
rockets
everybody.
or whatever, it's going to always hit its shit, and you're never going to hit it.
We got some kind of good shit like that you know that's out there. You know, people that are kind of like, you know, brainstorming this stuff. But we've also got people that are out there like, you know, going, okay, look, a number of the changes that are happening, you know, we're going to have to adapt to. One of them being, and this is one of the things that is still unreleased at this time, there is going to be something new that is added to the manufacturing of Tech 3. However, it apparently is not going to be available until the time, or announced or whatever, until the freaking patch notes come out. This is something that's coming July 11th, from what I understand. This Tech 3 change is coming July 11th, but this thing that goes into the building of Tech 3 is not coming before that. So none of
So
that
what
will
happens
be
to all your Tech
available.
3s that are already fit with like 5 subsystems and all that crap?
That's going to be shit that's going to get fixed or you know, like taken
It's-
off or replaced. There was actually something out there. I don't have the link to it.
No, they did say you
Okay.
have to be docked up, like to make sure that you're docked up, because I think they said they were going to change it to the newest, whatever the whatever the next subsystem rig or whatever the hell it's going to be. They're going to change it like live. So if you're sitting in a ship like undocked in space, then you're just going
Do I
to log
get-
into the change.
Do I
So
get
they
my ISK back for all the mods I'm going to lose?
No.
I don't think you're going to actually. Well, I'm not sure that you're going
I'm
to
not
lose
sure.
mods. What they'll probably do is convert them to one of the other ones. You know, if they're going away. But there was something about, you know, there was something, and I'm trying to vaguely remember it now, about if you want it to, what is it? If you want it to actually convert to the thing that you want, then you should like strip it down or some shit, as opposed to just on your ship. I forget. There's some notes out there somewhere.
I still can't believe.
I feel out of my 20 Proteuses, I'm going to lose some money.
I still can't believe that they're gonna make a ship.
Fake rent. This means way more to me when I've done some shots. I gotta be honest. Right now, I'm just wondering what the fuck you're talking about. Are you now gonna move into the rant so that you catch up to? All right. Whatever the fuck that
Can't even
was.
tell.
So,
Wait, did
according
I do
to
that
Twitch
already?
chat,
I think I did that already.
Anyways,
Overused.
However, this is out in Sissy. If you were somebody who was really into the freaking whole Tech 3 game and theory crafting and whatnot, maybe go out there and begin to play around with this stuff. This was something that somebody gave me the other day, and it is a super fast motherfucking Loki with 617 deeps. Not crazy tank, and that is cap stable for those of you who are worried about it. Yeah,
I don't understand how it's cap stable with an oversized micro warp drive. I get
You
oversized.
mean with a
afterburner.
500 MN micro warp drive?
Yeah, that's what I meant by oversized.
Yeah. Because
What?
shit's
because
fucking
of the
crazy.
reasons.
you gotta go
Because
fast.
Eve.
So what would be the range on the hams then?
Range on the hams is under 100.8 kilometers.
Oh my god, that's so gross.
There's no way they got
Not hams, heavy missile launchers.
Heavy missiles, yeah.
I think CCP should leave it. Don't nerf that at all.
Nope, that's cool because probably you can get an Entosis link on there and be doing 12K, you know, in your freaking Speedy Demon heavy missile launcher Loki.
It's getting 600 DPS with heavies.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's what it says. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously all fives, shield command burst, Skirmish, yeah, that thing's moving. I mean, yeah, and granted, this is getting bonuses and whatnot, but whatever.
How are the boosts going to keep up with the Lokis? So unless you're going to have to build boosting Lokis. To follow
No,
them
boosting
around.
Loki
actually, what's
that goes
better about
crazy
this is
fast.
outrunning your heavy missiles. Okay, so like you could be cavalry charging into your enemy and like zoom past them, and then the missiles hit them.
Like they used to do with the old Ravens back in the day.
Such good stuff. But yeah, that's out in Sissy. You know, I don't know. I mean, like, you know, all that stuff is out there. You know, there are obviously that are people that are out there theory crafting this stuff. Way beyond my fucking level of comprehension with this. I mean, you know, but this is going to shift things. But again, as I was saying a little while ago, there is supposedly going to be some stuff. Nobody knows where it comes from yet. Apparently, this has not been released. It's not been CSM leaked or anything like that, even if they have it. Where this particular stuff is going to come from. Will it be wormholes? Will it be, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll be freaking HiSec. Maybe HiSec will be the new freaking choke point for Tech 3 manufacturing.
Wait, it's not going to be wormholes anymore?
Apparently, there's something new coming in, and it hasn't been announced exactly, you know, what it is or where it comes from.
It's the same drone trip that the fucking excavators need.
We may hear some more about this tomorrow on Talking in Stations. I will say that because we've got some people coming on that are apparently also concerned about the fact that there is this, I'll call it hidden element or whatever. Or maybe as Rodin says, I bet you the new material will be based on the refinery chains. Who knows? Maybe it's a moon thing.
A wormhole moon.
Maybe it's a wormhole moon. I don't know. Next up, Project Discovery. This is something that's actually going to be mass tested. I believe it's this Sunday or July 4th or shit.
I'm actually excited for this. Like the last Project Discovery, I was really excited for, and then I tried to do it, and
4th of July.
I was actually so terrible at it that they give you like the run, like the testing, like, oh, here's the tutorial, this will be easy, and they run you through it. And I think I got like 2 out of 10 or whatever on that. And then I tried to do the real runs. I just like fail. I could never figure them out. I'm like, fuck this. Fuck mitochondria, fuck DNA. But the exoplanet things I'm actually really excited about because I love astronomy and I love this whole exoplanet search that they're doing, and that it's building speed. And so I'm actually excited about this Project Discovery.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be mass tested along with the agency, which we'll get to in a bit here, on July 4th. So if you're like into that shit, boom, out in Sissy. Apparently you can go out in Sissy right now and be playing with it, but they are having a mass test on the 4th. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, I haven't cared about shit like this since, like, you know, SETI at Home was out and I was running it on my computer, like, kind of in the background or like when I wasn't there. And that was just to find fucking extraterrestrials. This is actually to find fucking planets that nobody lives on?
Well, that maybe somebody lives on.
Well, it's... Wait, that they live on... No, it's just to find just exoplanets, period.
Oh, yeah, we don't just want fucking empty planets. We want to be able to find planets that have people on it.
No, okay. Finding Earth-like planets that are in the habitable zone and are roughly similar to the mass of Earth and might contain that, you know, because if they're in the habitable zone, that means that if there's water on the surface, it will be in a liquid form.
Yeah, but you get more plex if you find one that has people on it.
But also, it's like there's also it's not just Earth-like planets that are exciting. There's a lot of really cool, weird-ass fucking planets out there that are exoplanets that are completely inhospitable to life as we know it. Definitely humans. That are still really exciting to learn about. I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, I'm gonna go into a bunch of examples. But,
nerd.
Like, there's all these planets that when they find them, they don't make sense because.
Well, that's an interesting part. Like, we just assume what the habitable zone is based on our own understanding of life in our solar system. Like,
well,
doesn't mean that there can't be life on something
simply
totally different.
Well, right. So the habitable zone is literally like they can actually figure out if a planet is in the habitable zone or not because basically it's literally they look at
the Goldilocks planets.
Yeah, the Goldilocks zone is the name for it, And basically all that is, they can actually calculate that because they look at not the luminosity, but they basically can look at how like the heat and the radiation of the star that the planet surrounds, and they can take that and be like, okay, so this star, so obviously for red dwarfs they got to be closer in, for big, like blue white stars they got to be farther out essentially, but they're like, okay, if a planet is between here and here of this specific star, water, based on the properties of water, will be in liquid form if it's on the surface of that planet there. And so that, and the fact that water is like this universal, incredible substance to make a solution, and water is generally needed to do all kinds of chemical reactions. Most of the chemical reactions that, as far as, like we said, like life that we know it, that requires all these different processes to happen in your body to transfer nutrients and everything else, needs to have liquid water for it. And so,
can you still say red dwarf and not like be like, I don't know, either
British.
colorizing or shorterizing people or whatever?
Yeah, you can. There's also
Like,
brown dwarfs, and that's
Is there like
not
is there like a whole sun thing out there where it's
Yeah.
like you can't say red dwarf anymore?
Now, there's brown dwarfs,
I mean-
and that's not racist. They're actually designated brown dwarfs. But
But couldn't you imagine like a life form that could collect gaseous water and somehow like condense it inside itself?
well,
for
right.
stuff?
So like, that's the thing, is like,
it could
just
be a
because
thing.
it's not liquid water doesn't mean that it's impossible for life to be there. And there's actually, like, being that we're a carbon-based life form, when you go one down from that, it's sulfur, or I think it's sulfur. And so they've actually come up with models that could possibly work where sulfur is used in place of carbon as like the building blocks for that type of life form, or no, and stuff like, or no, instead of silicone, sulfur. I forget. But it's less likely, and also, yes, you can have life possibly develop where there isn't liquid water, but it's much less likely based on the calculations and the math and the biosciences that they've done. So like, if they know there's liquid water, the chances of there being life that we know of is much more likely to exist, because of, we're basically life that's based on protein chains. And those protein chains, for them to work correctly and form, generally has to have water for it. But yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, so there's the exoplanet search for possibly habitable planets or planets that could support life, but there's also just a general knowledge of searching for planets that are crazy, because they found all kinds of planets that they never would have expected that they are like that. I'm trying to think of examples, but I mean, there's like hot Jupiters. There's also specific planets that there's one planet that okay, I don't want to take up the whole show with science, but I'm really excited.
Do we
about
want to
it.
find planets that either do or do not have peanuts that can grow on them?
Well, I'm just saying, it's like the formation of our moon.
I
We've actually
can't
looked at
find any peanut
exoplanets and come
planets.
up with possible different solutions
Peanut
of how the
planets would
moon was
probably be
formed.
bad for the colonists, at least like, I don't know, like 0.8% of them or something.
Will there be gluten-free planets?
I think there
yeah,
might
yeah,
be.
Yeah, they have
It-
to.
If we as EVE players are good enough with Project Discovery, we may be able to find gluten-free planets.
But what if Rain gets a Project Discovery set of planets that isn't gluten free? Like, are we gonna have to worry about this?
Oh, I
she's
think
gonna
that her
space
character
vomit
is
every
What
immune
if
to
you-
that, but-
To say, what if you get one with peanuts?
Exactly. You guys could
You ain't
trade
gonna make it.
planets then.
Yeah, you don't want peanuts planets. But now you're laughing at the joke. Well, I'm just saying, like, so, like, the formation, like, just a quick example of why exoplanets that are non-habitable could be exciting. So the formation of the moon, the most leading theory is the impact theory of like a roughly Mars-sized planet.
You mean
protoplanet.
our moon?
Our
moon,
moon.
right?
So we had the Earth in its old form, and because they've done tests, like they expected the moon to be made up of different formation
Cheese.
silicates than what the Earth was. But then they found that when they took moon rocks back from the Apollo missions, they found that the moon's composition is almost identical to the Earth's. And they're like, okay, so
So
these
fucking
two formed
weird.
basically from the same thing, but they're different
Like the
celestial
Earth?
bodies, and so like it doesn't make sense. And so because rock formation is different. I don't know the geology, but basically if you just have rocks coalesce together and then have rocks coalesce together in a different spot, they're going to have different properties. But they found that the moon and the Earth is very similar, and so they came up with the impactor theory, which is basically you have Earth, old Earth, is a little bit smaller than it is now, and you have this roughly Mars-sized planetoid come and hit Earth, at a glancing blow, which caused Earth to possibly go off its axis tilt, and that's what caused it spinning really fast. And then like you have it basically melted off the core of the entire planet and mixed the two together, and then you have this molten ring around the Earth that coalesced into the moon, and so now that's why they're both made of the same material. But then they eventually found that, okay, the far side of the moon, the crust there is about 30 miles or kilometers, I forget which one, I think it's about 30 miles thicker than the side of the moon that faces the Earth, and that doesn't make sense.
It's European?
Well, no, it doesn't make sense, because you know like the big like magma flow oceans on the moon that make like the face in the moon? Well, those are from like meteor impacts that broke through the crust and caused big giant outflows of lava that covered these giant areas. The backside of the moon, when they finally took a probe around the backside, took pictures, looks nothing like that. There's none of those. It's all just craters. And then they found eventually in like mid 2000s, I think, that the crust is actually 30 miles or kilometers thicker. And they're like, that doesn't make sense. The back is like that and the front isn't. But then they started thinking like, well, how is this? And they started looking at other exoplanets, and there's one exoplanet they found that is so close to its star and it's tidally locked. And the moon is tidally locked with Earth, which means the same face of the moon faces Earth all the time. It doesn't rotate itself. Well, it rotates itself, but at the same speed that it rotates around the Earth. So the exoplanet they found around the star was tidally locked as well. And the front of it, and it was so close to the star, the front of it was so superheated that the crust was evaporating, melting and evaporating. And the back was so cold that it caused convection, and that evaporated melted rock would eventually go to the back and then condense and rain down, and so it built up the back side of that planet's crust thicker than the front. And so like, okay,
that's some crazy shit.
So when the Earth impacted,
Sounds kind of fucked up. Is that like I'm like messed up, like really long in the back of the head, kind of like flat?
Well, right, and so they're saying the moon might have been the same. So when the moon the planetoid that was the moon impacted the Earth, it caused the Earth to basically turn into a giant molten ball because it got so hot from the impact energy that when the moon formed, there was still a ton of radiative heat coming off the Earth, and the moon was much closer then than it is now. It's slowly going away from the Earth because of the tidal pull. The Earth is basically slingshotting it farther and farther out. And so the moon could have been superheated on the front side back in its early development that it had the same effect. So finding these exoplanets that are non-habitable could still give us insight into our own local shit. And so that's why it's so exciting.
So you're saying we're going to lose the moon one day?
It's going to go bye-bye.
It's getting old. It's slowing down, right?
Did you say bulge?
Can we like not lose it and maybe just misplace it?
Well, no. Like the moon is causing drag on the Earth because of the tidal bulge, and so the Earth is slowly slowing down on its rotation. For this. But the moon, because the tidal bulge in front of it, is getting pulled forward. So it's basically the moon is getting sped up and put out into a farther orbit, and it might eventually either slingshot out of the Earth's orbit and escape it, and we'll lose the moon. Or
Drayden, it says you're muted.
Oh, you've been doing this entire thing about fucking moons and you're muted?
It's been so interesting.
You freaking moon muted?
Okay, this was not fake. This was real. I'm excited about this.
Oh my god. Oh my god, you're so fucking bad.
Wait, no. It's only been recent. It's only been recent because people were responding to what I was saying before.
I think actually
so eventually the moon will either get slingshotted out or eventually...
Now she's saying for the last 25 seconds. What did you do in the last 25 seconds between talk about flat-faced, big, long-headed
literally nothing. Okay,
and...
this is
I don't care. I want to know where the moon's going.
Hold on. Someone typed in TeamSpeak, which activated...
Is our moon
going to your
someplace?
Montos?
I said be right back in TeamSpeak, and then I came back.
I'm saying it activated TeamSpeak, so it took it off of OBS as the active window, I think, which cut.
Do I need to sell my moon real estate? That's what I'm asking.
Exactly.
All right. So
Yeah,
anyway,
what do we know about
used,
child
man.
sex slaves that have been taken to Mars?
We'll eventually
do we
lose
have
the
any
moon
idea
because it'll
about
get slingshot off, or the moon will get so far out that the magnetic field of the Earth will no longer protect it from cosmic solar wind, and that could cause drag on the moon, which will slow it down, which will then cause it to degrade in orbit and eventually crash into the Earth.
You're silly.
That's crazy.
So if we do
Child
lose the
sex slaves
moon,
on
like,
Mars,
what happens
real or
to
not?
the tides and all that shit?
Oh, they'll get fucked. But the thing is, like, the moon moves about an inch away each year. That's not much. Like, it's gonna take.
Is it gonna leave us eventually? Is it gonna like go off and
It's
meet
gonna
somebody
be
else?
billions
or-
of years before one of those two things happen. So we don't have
But
to
I've
worry
seen
about
the
it.
day
Right
after
Can we get a new
tomorrow, so
moon?
I know that gradual change on the oceans can cause superstorms that freeze poles.
Yeah. And then we'd be questioning whether or not it had to do with environmental effects or just the moon being like fucking them out.
And also
Maybe
there
Trump
are
is right.
wolves.
Maybe it's not climate change from
Maybe
CO2.
it's not climate change.
Maybe it's the moon. Trump knew it all along. It's the moon.
Damn. See how this shit
Now-
comes fucking around?
Now we should
Damn.
see NASA. NASA should be putting rockets on the backside of the moon to push it a little bit closer. Fix it all.
All right, we got 13 minutes left in the show, and I want to throw this out to you. I'm sorry, Drayden. I know you're into this shit. You live in Idaho.
I
and
know.
it
We
means
gotta
something.
move on. I had to go on my
That went on for so
mostly
long.
It really
It was
Mostly
so
unmuted
interesting, though.
No, it was.
It was super
He's almost like a
interesting.
Max Singularity, but like Junior. You should
Yeah,
be
we're
like a
gonna lose
Max
the
Singularity
moon in
monk, maybe.
Not even our lifetimes.
You're like a whiter Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I would say Neil
are.
deGrasse Drayden.
Whiter?
Yeah, much whiter.
Neil Drayden.
Am I the only
Tyson.
person that thinks Drayden looks exactly like Chuck Todd?
Who's
No,
that?
he totally looks like fucking Chuck Todd.
Who's Chuck Todd? I'm off to Google.
Oh my
Google
god,
it.
he
It's swear
totally
to
looks
God.
like
it's
fucking Chuck
insane.
Todd. Anyways,
He does.
what was that boycott sober Dirk OC show? Yeah, you know what? This is way too late for me to be like, you know, I'm trying to chug beers, bros. I really am.
Yeah,
I'm
I do
pissing
look
like a
like Chuck
goddamn
Todd.
racehorse.
You need to
This is
shotgun
ridiculous.
them.
It's like ginger Chuck Todd.
I've got like, I don't know, a really small esophagus. I just like can't get as much down it as I've tried. Anyways,
You gotta practice, Dirk.
I know. Believe me, wild. You got to help me fucking get more down my throat, bro. Anyways,
You could train on some peanuts.
see, I just said that. And now you can like tweet that out as a fucking clip tomorrow. Anyways,
Practice putting bigger and bigger peanuts down your
Plex
throat.
rewards for events. Okay, what I'm going to tell people right now is the things for what the Rogue Swarm event, where they did 60,000 plus Plex that was dropped out there, and what's coming up for the new agency thing that is also going to be mass tested on July 4th. The Plex that comes from that is all created out of thin air. This is something that CCP is not using Plex that was bought for cash. They're actually dropping thin air created fucking Plex out into the thing. Now, it's not a whole lot, so nobody needs to get all freaking worked up about it. The 60,000 plus, is like 120 plus Plex of the old Plex and whatnot. It's very diluted within the market, so it's not having a big thing. But do we care about that, like, at all? Like, do we care that that they're now creating Plex out of thin air for these event type things?
Well, to be clear, is this they're creating out of thin air, or they are using Plex
No,
that
they're
have been
not.
reclaimed from banned accounts?
Confirmed. I had it confirmed today.
Hmm.
Now, again, not a lot. If somebody sat there and said to you, 3 months ago, CCP dropped 120 Plex into the market, like literally nobody would give a rat's fucking ass, because it is less than a drop in the fucking bucket. But
I mean,
this is
Plex
the way
is
it works
game
now.
time, so it's their game. They give away as many as they want, really.
No, it is. It is. This does come back to a question of how CCP, does all this stuff on their books and shit like that. One of the things that they said back during the day of Dr. E was that they would never create Plex out of whole cloth in order to do what the Eve Central Bank was doing in terms of trying to, balance the Plex market in terms of stability and things like that. However, they never ever said that they would not create them out of whole cloth for other reasons. And here it is very, it is very small. What's coming up with the agency, however, these are going to be daily missions, right? They're going to be ISK-based. They're also going to have a points reward system where Plex will be Plex, and it doesn't show how much or anything like that. At least what's on Sissy right now, is going to be part of the reward system that is in there. I think this is a good way for injecting potentially Plex into the market. I am a proponent of CCP managing the Plex market in a way, and if that means that they need to create it out of whole cloth, I'm kind of okay with that. I think that there's manipulation that's going on out there in the Plex market. I think that there is way more demand for it based on demand drivers that they created. and they cannot create enough supply drivers in order to feed it appropriately. So I'm okay with them coming up with different ideas. I'm a little skeptical about whether or not the ideas that they come up with are actually fucking logical and will make any difference whatsoever. But this is something new, and it was, as far as I'm concerned, only confirmed today that they are actually creating it out of whole cloth.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I would prefer them not to do it, but at the end of the day, it's it's not the worst. It's not going to have a huge impact, and it's not the worst impact if it does.
But
have
maybe
one.
it should have a huge impact. I mean, maybe it should at their freaking at the necessary time. Maybe it should have a big impact. And the problem is okay, they're going to throw some of this stuff out there in little Plex bits now. And really, it doesn't matter on a freaking 3 million or 1 million or whatever million basis it is on, at any given loot drop or anything like that, right? But it is something that maybe they need to be considering as a company as to how they're going to manage this real money trading currency they have, as along with kind of what goes on in game with market manipulation, as well as the fact that I don't believe that that it has the same kind of supply effect, that as the price goes up, more people come in with real money in order to supply Plex to the market. There's
I think it absolutely
the whole
does.
faucets thing.
It absolutely does. It's just the upward, like the dynamics of when those things cross is not clear, right? If I'm playing the game and I can get 5 billion ISK for a $15 injection, that's pretty attractive. Like, if I have that $15, I might go do it at that point. Finding people's individual price points on the ISK per Plex transaction, I think they still don't know about that yet, but I think it's subject to the same market forces as everything else. And as the player base grows, at least theoretically, the number of people buying and selling Plex would also grow. I think the issue is, because of various factors, the demand growth is growing a lot greater than the supplier growth. But if CCP's fix for that is, well, it's been going up since they've been introduced it. Basically, Plex hasn't really ever dropped.
I mean, the demand side has always been. They should
mess with the player economy in general. I think usually when CCP does that, it's bad for the game as a rule.
Right, except for the fact that the player economy in general is balanced by internal game faucets as well as internal game sinks and things like that, right? As opposed to an internal game demand and an external game supply, right? I mean, it is a bit of a different animal that they need to be able to balance for. And when you come into periods where, the type of player who's going to spend money out of their pocket in order to basically buy ISK is dependent on their need for ISK. Even though the price might be up, it's kind of like walking into a freaking, Macy's and going, you know what? Oh, shit's on sale. I think I'll buy it because it's on sale. Well, if you don't actually need or have a high enough want for that, right? Just because it's on sale is not really the reason to do it.
I agree.
You tell my wife that?
Saying sales
I would like to tell your wife, my wife,
it's
even
like,
myself,
this
when I
is
go
on
to
sale,
Costco.
you save this much. It's like, you're not actually saving money unless you actually need the extra stuff that you're buying. Otherwise, you're just spending that much extra. You're
so
saving
there's a couple
per
dynamics
item, but
that go into it. Like, the one is what you use the Plex for. More people, as generally speaking, as the economy goes, so does Plex demand. If the economy is not doing very great and you have a lot of players playing on smaller and smaller incomes, their ability to spend Plex is going to be down. The things that you can use Plex for, right now you can use it, prior you could just use it on game time. Now there are other things, so that's going to make it more in demand. Then it's the availability of ISK. How much do I need ISK? Can I get ISK really easily in the game? What ISK is coming out of my wallet? If you don't need ISK, to Drayden's point, like, you wouldn't buy a Plex. Because you wouldn't sell it for anything. There'd be no point. So the
that's kind of one of the things, right?
Because the less need they'll have to buy it.
Because you can go back in time, right? Inflation in the game okay, as far as minerals, as far as ship prices, as far as a lot of these things have gone in the game, has really been pretty stable, slightly up, but generally stable over time, right? So you go back 5 years ago, the amount of ISK you actually needed to replace ships is really not that much change different than today. However, the price of Plex, what you can get for your dollar, actually buys way more. Now, the theory would technically be that as you can get more for your dollar, that might actually encourage people to come into the market and buy Plex, sell it for ISK, and get way more than they could have in the past. But they don't need way more than they did in the past. What they need is something slightly above what they did in the past, so therefore they buy less Plex to fulfill their ISK needs.
Yeah.
Buying Plex.
I don't think it's as much of an inflation issue. Because ideally, inflation is bad, right? If you see prices going up, it should be pure demand, not because people have so much money.
But at the same time, inflation is inevitable in pretty much any economy. You're always going to have inflation. Mitigating it is what you strive for, but there's no way to eliminate it.
I'm going to give us an extra 5 minutes here because I think this is a reasonable conversation. However, we are going to have to fucking wrap it up. I don't think anybody's coming on after us. I haven't actually checked, but keep talking.
We'll move over for the after dark.
No, I just wanted to do all that blah blah blah.
No, there's nobody on after.
I'm pretty sure.
Drayden,
because
check me real quick. If you buy
because your wife is
if,
like, baby, I want to get to bed and like have our last night together as single people.
No, you have no idea what's going on right now. I don't know if you've been reading the chat, but she's playing Ocarina of Time, and she's getting her ass handed to her by a boss, and she's actually getting very angry to the point she wants to
which
throw
boss?
the DS.
Is she still in
Jabu
like,
Jabu?
Which
Which boss?
You know what?
The
You
one
know
in
what? Fuck it. We'll make the
Zabba
call.
or
We'll go
Jabba Jabba
30
Belly.
minutes. 30 minutes. 30 minutes, Drayden. 30
Oh,
minutes.
tell her just
You
to
know the
like
one-
to tell her
I
to
don't wanna do
target
this
it
every
and then
week.
back away
When
and
Dr-
use the
when Dirk is
boomerang
drunk, we'll
to
go
hit
to a different
things.
Yeah, I
Well,
did
no,
tell
I'm
her
saying
that,
we go
and
to
then
the-
she yelled at me and said I'm not helping, and then wanted to throw the DS.
I'm just saying, like, we go to a different
Oh, no.
channel, one, so that if we get stupid, it's on my channel and not INN's channel, and then we all get in trouble. And
Dude,
two,
you have Twitch.com here with us. Or
right, but
Twitch.tv.
still, and then
Yeah.
two, it's also just, it makes it easier to break up the recording, because we put out the podcast for the
Break
show.
you
The
up.
after show is usually a bunch of dumb stuff, and
You're
so we don't put it. And the
recording.
after show is kind of, it's more like a bonus for the people that watch live. It's like, if you watch live, you get the after show. That's a bonus. But someone's mic's open. But if you listen to the podcast, you get the main show. The after show is kind of like a bunch of dumb crap that is.
But this is sober after show, and it's like rational conversation.
Plus, Dirk is not super drunk.
Yeah, and Droneberg's right. The main show.
Totally
is also
fucking
dumb
not
stuff also.
super drunk. Which reminds me that
So one
I
question
want to
wanna
remind
ask,
people.
related before I got to go. If they create a Plex out of nothing and people spend ISK for that, that's a sink, right? An ISK sink.
Oh no.
If they create,
You know what's underneath or on top of sinks? Faucets.
Wait,
Well,
if they create what?
But they're not creating an ISK or a
No.
Plex and then selling
that point, it
it.
just
They're
becomes
creating a
an ISK
Plex
transfer.
and rewarding it. So you're going out and
Right,
getting it.
because it's
not
not
really
an
a
ISK sink
sink.
or a faucet, because you buy the Plex with real life money, which has nothing to do with in-game currency, and then when you bring it in-game and sell it, it's just transferring ISK from one person to the next.
freaking
It's not
Droneberg.
actually
That's cold. The
creating
main
or
show is
eliminating
mostly
ISK out of
dumb
the game.
stuff.
You're basically just
I have a
taking
question
ISK,
real quick.
You're taking ISK that
But
already
isn't the
existed and
value
moving
for
it
the
from one
Plex-
person to the other. That's not creating or destroying
Isn't the
ISK.
value of the Plex being consumed?
Well, okay,
It doesn't
but
matter
that,
because
that
it-
only goes back to accounting issues related to
the item is
if
being
all
consumed.
Plex ever created comes from cash, then you have stuff that's actually being consumed that hits their books and shit like that. That doesn't happen if what they're doing is, like in some of these cases, putting Plex out there just as basically a drop, right? And they began accounting for that differently this year, at roughly around the same time that they made changes with Aurum and the Plex and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole thing related to that. What I do want to mention for people out there is that tomorrow morning, yeah, it's still tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna have, I believe
Did you
it
say
is.
it's still tomorrow? It's still tomorrow?
Well, yeah, it's still
He
tomorrow.
says,
Meaning
like, he's talking about
it's
tomorrow,
11
and it's
p.m.
still
Eastern
So you're
tomorrow.
talking
Time.
about tomorrow. and
Therefore,
that
when I
tomorrow's
wake
still
up
tomorrow and it
fucking
hasn't
tomorrow,
rolled
it'll
over
be
to today.
still tomorrow. It's not like just
It's
a
not
few hours
today
from
yet
now.
for him.
Anyways, Kenneth Feld from Pandemic Legion. I believe Aerith is going to be there. Probag Bear is going to be there. We're going to have a number of people on Talking in Stations tomorrow talking about a few things, one of which will be Tech 3 cruisers and this mystical element that's going to go into them or whatever. But I believe that it will also get into some other issues, mainly related to Plex, God knows, maybe into injectors, maybe into the economy in general. We've got some of the names of fucking Economy World that are coming on tomorrow morning. Yeah. So, I'm not saying don't stay up fucking late tonight, but, at least join me in a fucking way too early morning.
All right.
I'm definitely not staying up late.
And Matterall. Join Matterall, too.
All right, we're at the 8, so we're going to cut the main show to...
No,
Why don't you just stay on the channel?
I said we'll go 30 minutes so we can carry on here for a little bit. Give the Matani.com a little extra fucking playtime. Ain't nobody coming on.
Okay, well, I was just saying, if...
I don't know why you're being weird about it, because when it used to be my stream after this, you guys would just bleed into it
That
for
was-
hours.
I know.
Now
That was back when I cared about what I looked like.
Right.
Now that there's nobody on afterwards,
But like
you're
I
well,
said,
let's cut it kind of short,
like-
guys. It's not DC we're stopping.
Well, I know,
on.
but like I
get
said,
it. No,
it's
fine. I
It's
get it.
easier to cut it at the two because then the coherent, well, not the coherent, but the main stuff is separated from the After Dark stuff, and then we also don't put any because if random things come out or we do something or say something that could cause drama, it's not on INN, it's on my channel.
Also,
If Dirk looks
for
stupid, I can just have
it's-
Drayden
it's-
delete it.
for
It's
your fancy news
safer-
thing, have you
It's
heard
safer
that?
so we don't get in trouble with INN, and it's also easier for audio, for
Drayden.
podcast
Drayden.
editing. Yes.
Would you let Drunk
Drayden.
Canadian look good in front of his wife for a second?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that'll never happen,
Go ahead.
Dirk.
Steeze it up. Show me that steeze.
So for your breaking news thing,
do we have
Ooh,
breaking
nice.
it's
news?
Sports Center.
Are you guys
Very
not getting
nice.
married tomorrow? I'm like, what? Are you breaking news right now?
Yeah, breaking
Uh,
news. It's
Oh
on.
my
I gotta
god,
get
it's
married.
too late. It's too late. We can't wake up that early.
I didn't help her with Zelda, and now she doesn't want to marry me anymore.
Yeah, what's up, Elias?
I gotta roll out, guys. Can I shill my podcast real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
shout
tell
it out.
everybody out there about your
All
podcast, which
right.
I think that people should listen to because it's one of those more sober fucking podcasts.
Yeah, it's declarationsofwar.com. It's Eve's longest running show. Always get some interesting guests on. It's me, Yin Tan, Artemis Albosa from Noir. Focus on PvP, politics, meta. Not as much meta, definitely like small gang PvP meta, fighting PvP meta, wars, all that kind of stuff, and CSM issues, of course. I would love to have you guys check it out. Also, my Corp Capitalist Army is recruiting. We're about to kick off a new campaign in Nullsec. Should be quite fun. So, if
What's the alliance
anyone's
you're
looking
with?
for new gigs, come
people
on.
were looking at your alliance, World WTO.
It's the New Eden Trading Company. It's it's New Eden's largest public infrastructure project. We've got, I think, 4
Wait.
trillion ISK worth of citadels.
You guys build dams and roads and it's basically
Are you
like
guys the
public
guys that
infrastructure.
have like
you guys
the
are like the Trump
trading
plan.
citadels up?
He's New
Yeah.
Eden's DOT.
I went to one of those the other day, and PL was just wrecking people outside of it.
It's a super capital highway that can take you from different parts of the game to the other side of the game safely with plenty of stuff to buy along the way and at each
So what you're
endpoint.
saying is,
Safely.
I could get my dread from Tribute down to Delve using your citadels, and I won't die.
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, you
now-
almost could.
Real quick.
Almost could do that.
Can-
yeah. that's
Can you
correct.
post a link for your show in TeamSpeak and I'll link it in Twitch.
Yes, yes.
I think
absolutely.
it'll ban you if you put it in Twitch chat. I think the bot will silence you. So put it in TeamSpeak. I'll relink it. And then
Fucking silence.
I was gonna. Well, hold on. I was gonna say something else, and I forget what I was gonna say.
The sound of silence. Where'd Rain go?
I don't know.
I'm right
Is she on
here.
a plane again?
She's dead.
No.
She's playing
Playing on
Shack
the
Thinking,
plane.
Dad, you can't scam someone if you never ask them for ISK. It's totally free to use the stuff. It's just
We'll trade Imperium invite for Yao station access. How much shit you got in Yao, Dark or Wild? Dark Wild. I know, I've still got shit.
Oh,
up there. I got
I know
like
what
all
they're saying.
kinds
Okay,
of fucking taupes and
I remember what I was gonna say. Dirk, there's a couple people asking what time is Talking Stations?
Talking Stations
Oh
is
man,
at
there's this button you
1500
can click,
UTC.
and it's got
But
a schedule on it.
There is a schedule, but just
11
pump it out.
a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1500 UTC.
8 a.m.
Those kinda dickish
Pacific.
Probably a few minutes after that, because apparently tomorrow Matterall is handling the button pushing, so it'll probably be late. Voice will be delayed by
I
a
thought he
bit
always
until he
handled the
figures
button
shit
pushing.
out.
Do they push it to
Savage.
Caleb?
No, McLeod's been like working like the
McLeod.
fucking buttons and shit. Yeah, Matterall's like graduated up to like where he's got like a a button pusher. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's
He's a big boy now.
he's
Big boy.
dictator in
Fucking-
perpetuity.
He was on fucking Meta Show, man. He's like cream of the crop type shit now.
Yeah,
He doesn't
he
was
even-
on the
he
Meta
doesn't-
Show.
he
Matterall?
doesn't he doesn't even fucking come on here anymore. He's like, fuck it. I was on with Matani last week. I can't
Yeah,
come
he's
on
like,
this
I'm
week.
above that. Although I
He was
didn't
literally
say,
here 2 weeks ago. Actually, you might be right. Maybe he
I-
wasn't above this.
Okay,
Exactly.
I
He's like
don't
fucking
know
above
what-
us now.
I don't know what Imperium was smoking when they came up with the decision, but apparently our show gets rebroadcast on Saturdays now.
Yes, it does. It
What?
gets rebroadcast
What?
in what would be
Yeah,
in what would be okay. So one of the things that's going on
Why
with
would they
Imperium
do
News
that?
Network,
to cover
all of
empty
the talk
space.
shows, are being rebroadcast after the fact. Ours gets rebroadcast in what would be Euro PM time, because we're not like a morning show, right? Yeah, so that happens on Saturdays during Euro PM, and then the other ones like Meta Show and Talking in Stations and I think Whiskey Gaming happen at other times over the course of the weekend.
We get
during
rebroadcast twice.
EU.
We get
Oh
rebroadcast
my God, we
on
get 3
Saturdays,
shows
and
a
then all
week.
3 talk shows get rebroadcast on Sunday.
Yeah.
Apparently
I
it
think
does
that is
well.
part of
Getting
our
a lot of mileage
conspiracy
out
of,
of it,
hey,
guys.
can you watch Dirk fuck up one more time this week?
Just in case you didn't catch it the first 2.
Please join us for Dirk fucking up later in the evening.
Do you think people who watch the replays do shots with us?
I would hope
Ah.
so.
So
I mean, because honestly, if you listen to this show sober, it's I don't know how you do it. I mean, honestly, but if
If
you
you're
just
not, you
pretend
should.
like it's live and you're playing along, like that can be a fucking fun game. I mean,
in my
listen,
will, I'm going to have a video of me taking shots so that my great well, I'm gonna say great nieces and nephews, because I'm not fucking having kids. They could take shots with me, and they won't even know who I am, but they could take shots with me if they want to. If alcohol still exists in like 100 years,
100 years.
yeah.
exactly.
All right,
But
guys,
yeah,
take it
so-
easy. I gotta get going. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Alexi.
you.
It was
Thanks for
great having
having
you
me
on.
on.
You know what?
Bye,
hopefully,
Twitch man.
Hopefully, again, sorry about last week, but I think we made up for it this week. You know, we had a good conversation. We like
No,
got
this was
everything
awesome.
out of you.
This
like
is absolutely awesome.
12 years from now, it's like you can come back and be like, what's changed with you?
Maybe they'll still be replaying it.
Yeah, exactly. Probably will. Samatani.com. They're trying to get, gain every ounce out of it. All right,
And
Drayden.
the cameras
Are
are
you,
gonna screw up.
are you ready to change the cameras, Drayden? You weren't prepped for that, were you? You weren't like
no,
when,
no,
when
we
he
got- I
said,
gotta-
"I'm going to be leaving." Okay, I'm ready to
Oh,
shift this
dear
to
No,
God.
flipping.
We have to wait for his closing the thing to go away, but when that goes away, I was already set up for a 4cam thing, so it should be all good to go once. Yeah,
All right.
bam.
Now,
Look at
now,
that.
now it's
perfect.
me, now DC, or
No,
myself,
you
and
have to
Kelsey,
wait. Like I
and
was saying,
Jeremy
wait for the
Schilder.
delay. When the delay goes
Your
away,
delay.
it's fixed.
We
It is
literally
fixed.
we literally hit every topic tonight that I had on my crazy show notes. We hit them all. We hit every
We
one.
didn't talk
We
about
didn't
how
hit
to
the
fix
and,
Don't
the
use
and I
faucet.
still remember it. I don't know.
We
this
didn't
may
talk
be the
about
new
how to
thing.
fix
This may be the new
the
thing.
ISK faucet.
What's an open comms version of Futurama? Man,
It's.
that would
I don't
be-
think that we
sh-
actually have the time to talk about fixing the ISK faucet. The ISK
We discussed
faucet.
it in Skype. It's easy. You put a 99% reduction roll bonus on all carriers and super capitals for bounties, and then you make Rourke roll blueprints only drop from Titan spawns.
Maybe I'll. You know what? I
It
just got an
goes
idea from
against
Raph.
Done.
everything that it goes against everything that CCP believes, which is they want to put in things in the game that cause you to make a decision, right? I would think that what they would do is
I
they
know
would
it goes
just
against
dial up. They would dial up aggression towards fighters that makes you sit there and say, you know what? How much do I want to use my super capital to rat if what I'm going to do is lose way more in fighters that who actually use this vessel?
Oh, when you're saving Jeremy from a dread and then you lose a fighter. Yeah.
Rasmuth just gave me a great idea.
Thanks, Paul.
What's your great?
Anytime, buddy.
What's his great idea that you're going to
Okay,
relay?
so he says, "What's an open comms version of Futurama?" I am now actually thinking of taking clips of Futurama and putting masked green screen images of our faces on various characters in Futurama and using open comms audio to make it fit and work with each other to make some crazy shit. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it.
I don't think there was ever a Futurama episode where they were that drunk where that fits.
Not yet. Because I
Not yet.
haven't
The
worked
show
on it.
doesn't
I haven't
make
worked
shows
on it yet.
anymore.
So like normally
You
when
wait.
you're
I'll see
doing
what I
the
can
show
do.
drunk
I'll see
Canadian,
what I can
Who
do. If I do,
I'll
I'll
fucking
put
show you.
Who?
Is fiance drunk Canadian? Like, is she just off playing like fucking iPad games normally, or like are you guys just in different
she's
rooms
literally
experiencing
laughing 'cause-
different things?
So she can hear you. So she's just here listening.
No, I know
and
she can. She's
playing
got fucking
Zelda.
headphones on.
Doesn't she normally
now
just
she's
stand on top of the
giggling like a
stairs and yell
savage.
down
Is
at
she
you?
still on Jabu Jabu, or did she beat
She
that?
does like to yell from multiple rooms away, and then get mad when I can't hear her.
It's
Or I'll yell back and she can't hear me.
What did she think about the whole fire extinguisher thing on the wall at your last place?
The
What
maple
do you mean my
syrup.
last place?
Or the maple syrup?
The maple syrup
like-
fire.
like-
Are you talking
like
about the
sprinkler-
central vac that I have
Yeah,
in my
whatever,
basement?
the thing that's like painted red that is a big giant pump on your wall that is probably a maple syrup dispenser.
It definitely does not. Oh, okay. It may or may not shoot at maple syrup, but it is the best thing ever. They're talking about the central vac.
Can she
Because it
tell us
shoots
about
out with the
how you shot her during war games?
Did you?
No, I didn't actually get to shoot her. I had a plan to
You
shoot her.
didn't get to.
So, okay. So when we go to Wainwright, there's this thing called the West system, a weapons effects system. They put laser beams. It's like army laser tag.
We call it Miles.
Right.
Yeah, we used to use that. Now we have West.
It's like new
Is that a
Miles.
Chinese-made model or?
No, it's Miles
No,
with
it's
GPS
C-West.
attached to it, so that the generals can look at it and go,
So it's like
here's,
it's a
here's
next gen.
exactly where you fucked up right here.
Yeah, so towards the end of the exercise, I had wiped out a bunch of dudes from the RCDs, so I killed a bunch of vehicles, and then we knew they were calling on a mass cas, like a massive casualty situation, so they were calling up to Fieldam, which is where my wife works. So I was sitting by the main road, hidden in the bushes, waiting for her am to go by, where I was going to then ambush her and kill her. My whole plan was, after I had killed her vehicle, to drive out of the wood line, do a circle around her vehicle, lighting her up with machine gun while giving her the finger from the top of the turret.
All right.
And now
But
it
they
didn't
got
quite
called
work.
we
off.
out
now
as you
have
planned.
audio evidence, so you
she-
can never
She
do that.
ambushed you in return, or
No, so what happened was...
or she just took the
there
fucking
was-
day
there
off
was-
and didn't show up.
there was too many pockets of enemy kicking around, and so they didn't dispatch. Like, they called them up, and then they were halfway there, and then they shut them down and sent them back.
No. 'Cause I'm
I thought you
in
got
a-
called out twice.
I got called out, but because I'm in an AM, and obviously there's no point of us going out if we're just gonna get killed too.
Yeah, so they
He
sent
had no
them out.
cover.
So she
and then
blue
they got
balled.
about
She blue balled.
She
No, he
basically
had
blue
no
balled me,
armor.
yes.
We die.
in and out of the bedroom.
You did not infiltrate her camp that evening?
I thought
No,
you
I
did
did
that
not.
after
Being the
marriage.
Canadian fucking ninja seal that you are?
It was a pretty amazing plan, but it did not come full circle. I was actually very sad. And then some stupid lady came and said that we were dead because we were causing too many casualties. And that's it.
That's
That's the whole time that I was gonna kill her. I was super excited.
What time do you guys have to get up in the morning and like, do this whole like, Canadian I
So-
do thing?
So the we're doing it at noon. So we have
Oh,
lots of
that's so fucking
Yeah.
early. I'm like, honestly, are you guys like getting up and going to like? Do you guys have International House of Pancakes up there? Or
You mean do we have an IHOP? No, we have a Denny's.
no? Do you guys call it domestic hop? Or
At least you have Denny's. They have Her Majesty's Pancake House.
where? In fucking
Do you-
Idaho?
They
Do
have
you have to
Oh,
pledge
they don't.
allegiance
they have
to the
Humpum,
Queen when you go
Humpa.
in?
They have Humpa. They have
Humpa.
humps. They have Humpa.
That
It's kind
My
of bad luck
closest-
for you guys to like
closest
see each
thing
other the
that-
night before the wedding. I'm like,
The
it's
closest thing
kind of.
Paul has is an Irving truck stop that serves breakfast all day.
But you
long.
got to remember, tomorrow's just like the official paperwork thing, right? Like the ceremony's not until the following week in Jamaica, but technically tomorrow morning or tomorrow
As far as
at noon
Canada is
we'll be
concerned, it's
married.
tomorrow because they don't give a shit about fucking Jamaican law.
Yes, but well, it has nothing to do with Jamaica law. It has everything to do with that we are considering the ceremony in Jamaica like the actual wedding, and tomorrow is just the paperwork. But
Now,
tomorrow's
this
the
is
official day.
you were
that it'll
telling us
happen.
last week that this is her third wedding. It's your first.
Yeah, that's definitely not what I said. But, nice try.
I want to.
Did you see the look on her face? She was like ready to snap. She might still be ready to snap. Actually, It
Those
looks like
two
she's
weddings
processing.
in Yellowknife count, baby.
Oh, she's yelling about Zelda now. What's happening in Zelda?
Dying.
You're dying.
Just kill. Kill.
Okay, so now she's yelling "kill" while playing Zelda. It's just like
She
I
can
don't
go
remember
to
playing this.
She can go to like one of those things. Tell her to get she should have 2 jars from the quest, so she should be able to go to like a fairy place and get some fairies, so she has more lives.
So her exact here, say what you just said.
It sounded like
Okay,
frustration.
She's like,
finish. She
bitch, don't
said-
tell me about.
Yeah, it
fairies.
sounded like a
I
lot
don't
of
wanna go to a-
frustration. She's like,
There was a
"Bitch."
lot of swearing. I will paraphrase. I don't want to go to the fucking fairy place. I want to kill the thing. I don't know what thing
Just-
she's trying to fight anymore.
You have to
but
Z target
apparently-
it, and then you have to like back up, and then just boomerang it, and then when it does the wobbly thingy and it's like in the ground, like flinching, then you stab it with the sword.
Wait.
By the way,
what?
just keep
Apparently-
backing up
apparently
and
camping
use your
the fairy
boomerang.
gate.
I forget. Hold on.
It's just
Now
like
she's
it's
at
a-
the. Now
What?
she's at the electrocution person.
What?
Whatever the fuck that is.
Wait,
Yeah,
what-
that's the final boss in Jabu Jabu's belly. It's
Wait, what's-
Electromag, whatever the fuck its
What's
name
the,
is, and
what's
it
the Jabu Jabu
spins.
boss?
It's the one.
Well,
It's
so
the big
it's when you
electric
put the
thing.
fish down and the thing sucks you into its mouth, and you got to chase that stupid snobby princess thing around and throw.
Yeah,
around
so the boss has like it's like a weird, it's not a jellyfish, but it's like has a weird base, has spikes on the bottom, and then the top
She
it has
did
like
that
little
one.
jellies. Okay, so she has to hit all the things off the top of it and then hit it in its belly. So the spikes have to go down, so it has to be like in the ground to attack it. And you only have to do it like 3 or 4 times.
Did you get all that, Kelsey?
Yeah, I got it. I was on 2. I just need to hit it one more and I fucking died.
Oh, perfect.
Beat the fairies!
You need fairies.
No fairies, Rain.
Fairies
You
are like
doing
a
it
nice
literally
backup,
was
like,
like, fuck
if you
us.
stumble across them. Like they're nice,
Fairies.
like if you like seeking them out really sucks, but if you stumble across them, they're just nice
Well,
to
there's
keep
the
a couple.
you go to the Great Fairy Fountains, and it's easy to just fill up all your bottles with fairies.
I think at this point she's in a
No,
drunken blind rage where she just wants to like muscle her way through it,
I
but she
think
doesn't
that's
have the
actually
hearts.
discriminatory. Like, you should not be able
Yeah,
to run
'cause-
around catching fairies in bottles.
Well, she should only have like 5 hearts unless she did the quest for like the
Fairy privilege.
pieces of hearts. So yeah, and
I have
then
no
when you
idea how
die,
many she
you
has right now.
respawn. She should have 5, but when she respawns, she'll only have 2.5 because I think you respawn with half of them after you die. So yeah, it's
I
probably
thought
like
you
near
always
impossible.
defaulted with 3, no
Wait,
matter how
if
many.
you die
had.
with a fairy,
Oh, maybe.
you just automatically res.
Yeah, but she doesn't have
The wor-
fairies.
Oh, right.
The
oh,
wor-
I
the
think
worst
so, like,
part
but when you
is,
die, you get like
If
half
you,
them back. It's
if
like,
you
no,
die
when
with a fairy, people start asking questions.
No, when you die with
So-
fairies, that you just respawn with full health.
She says she's going full retard, but
Oh no, you don't.
So,
Oh man,
Um,
you never go full
Oh,
retard.
never go full retard.
you
don't
never
do
go
that.
full retard. But anyway, I had this Nintendo DS in Wainwright, and I actually downloaded all the Zelda games from like the Nintendo all the way up. It was soul crushing how life consuming that was.
Ah, man.
Was that your-
Every
Shoot
time I
him
hear-
and gloat,
every time I hear
smack
you never go
talking
full
me.
retard. That's like
Oh
the
my
best
God.
movie ever.
Somebody smack talking you?
He's like, Rain, have you played this game? I fucking love Legend of Zelda. I think I
Has she
streamed that on my
played this
channel.
game? She's given like how
Pro
to fucking
tips.
play without even like watching on screen.
Yeah, I
Pretty
fucking
soon,
love
Rain's
this
gonna have a
game.
YouTube.
I think the
Rain's
sun's
gonna have
down
a
enough I can
YouTube channel
open-
with a Let's
Nope.
Play.
The sun is
Oh,
too bright.
She's like, I can tell. She's like, I can tell from the look on her face that she needs to like, take a left and go down and like grab a jar and then smash it over a fairy's head.
That's how fairies work.
I don't
Dirk.
know why, but my wife, Kelsey started
I
laughing
don't
so hard from that. I don't know why.
Because it was fucking funny. Dirk's funny.
Fair enough. Sober-ish Dirk.
Exactly. Drunk Dirk would be like, "What the fuck are we motherfucking talking about?"
It's hard to get crazy drunk off the beer because you gotta drink
Turkestan, you
so
wouldn't
much
get
of it.
balls of fairies.
build
Balls
a
of
fucking
fairies.
fairy wall.
Yeah, fairy wall. You go.
And get the fairies to pay for it. Ooh.
Make the skull kids pay the rupees.
So Rain, next week you gonna come back on camera once your freaking elephantitis is down?
You got elephantitis.
Is that what it is? Elephantitis?
Isn't that what she
From the
like?
gluten.
She ate pasta and got elephantitis.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
That's,
gluten
that's a serious thing.
elephantitis.
What is that?
I don't
You don't
know.
know what
I'm
that
just like,
is?
I have no idea what happens to people when they get fucking celiac-itis.
Wait.
What?
This is where it gets shady on INN. Wait, hold on. Elephantitis. You don't know what that is?
Well, it depends. Elephantitis of the what? Of the nuts is fucking bad.
Yeah, of the
because that
scrotum.
affects your step. But
Or the testicles? Yeah.
no, if you just
Literally,
get
your
like straight up
balls-
elephantitis,
it's a
like
worm.
different.
It's a worm, or some kind of parasite that causes, depending on where it goes, the worst.
Isn't that kind of messed up that when
the
fucking
worst and
DC
most
walks
iconic
away,
one
the
is-
camera was focused on
is
him,
testicle
and now Mrs. DC is
elephantitis.
blurred?
Which the worms or whatever the microorganism gets in, and it makes your balls swell up so big that people literally have to carry them in wheelbarrows. It's like
Yeah.
their
Elephantitis
balls,
is
their balls,
horrifying.
Just
What?
the first part.
Their
Like,
balls
there has to
swell
be a
to, like-
second word after.
Yeah, their-
Elephantitis can be of anything.
Yeah,
You know,
it can. I'm just saying, like, it
that's
can
the
go in people's
pre-word,
feet. It can
as
go,
I
but
call
like
it.
the one that's the most like iconic is testicle
Elephantitis of the
and it's
penis is like
people's
totally okay
balls-
with people.
Their balls swell up to like twice the size of basketballs, each of them.
Well, yeah, nobody wants fucking nuts that size. I mean, it's like, it just gets in the way.
Chilled Mackers, you know some
Elephantitis
fucked up
of the
shit.
tits. Nobody has ever bitched about
I don't-
elephantitis of the tits.
I would. There, like, maybe
Really?
other people disagree, but in my opinion, there is definitely a thing called too big of tits.
Well, there is. Especially when it comes with too big of ass.
Well, no, like D is about as big as I like. I mean, like that's even pushing it. Double D's and bigger are like too big in my opinion. Too big. I want nothing to do with that.
I'm okay with D, but once you've gone over that
D
fucking
is
double
like
D
okay,
limit-
but like bigger than I would prefer. B and C is where I like it. B and C is perfect. D is a bit.
Shooter McLows wants to know,
D is a
Drayden
bit
knows
big.
about
Double
enlarged
D is
balls?
too big, and anything bigger than double D is like no fucking thank you. That is outrageous.
Drayden knows about enlarged balls from the last time he told a girl with enlarged tits, your tits are too big, and she kicked him right in the fucking nuts.
Yep, that did happen. Yeah, even
But
News
what we
agrees with
should
me.
do here-
DNC,
what we
just
should do
right.
here, because
good
you know
handful
what?
size and no more.
What we should do is we should, just so I can stop recording and like things like that, and I'll put out
Right,
the whole
that's what I'm
fucking
saying,
show
like, okay,
tomorrow
yeah.
and whatnot. Is like, you know what? I think that we should, end it here. I think we had a totally fucking like, Cap Stable kind of fucking show. Not Cap Stable, that podcast that like, edits their shit and whatnot, but like, I think that we like, maintain stability, and yeah, this kind of fucking worked out. I don't know. I may like fucking do this again next week. We'll see. I may save some money on
Sober?
fucking, shit that those people are not like giving me a fucking thing for.
beer.
Anyways. But yeah, so, I personally just want to thank all of you. I would like to not slur while I do that. Thank you all for listening tonight. I think it's been a really good night. I think we've all shared an experience here. Drayden, what about you? How do you like tonight?
I think tonight. Well, am I supposed to go in like a very soothing voice like this?
No,
or
you
just
don't have to
very-
do that, Drayden. You can just be Drayden.
Oh, fine. No. Okay. No, it was good tonight. It was we actually stayed on topic apparently. I don't know if that's the goal, but I mean, like, it did work out well.
Drunk LeBlanc.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a
And-
good show.
LB
It was a nice,
McShots.
it was a refreshing change from the usual show that spirals downward very rapidly. But yeah, I think you could do like one or two shots just to liven it up.
I don't know. It's like,
So
I feel like
loosen
if I
up,
fucking
loosen
reach
up,
into
not
the
liven up,
bag, it's like I'm
loosen
just
up.
pulling out the whole set of nads.
Well, you don't like we said
Nads.
already. You don't have to go full retard. Never go full retard.
No, never go full fucking retard.
Sometimes you need to go full retard.
I was wondering, what's the recommended amount of dated wham I should have to serve?
I'm like, who the fuck is talking right
I
now?
think-
thought
So
that was
therefore, I
Wayne
am
for a second.
reasonably enough buzzed. Thank you very much, Drunk Canadian, for
I
proving
think the measured amount of wham you should have is
the dead wham.
is some wake up before you go wham. That's the wham that everyone should have.
Wham.
Wham.
I do want to say that I'm glad Rain was on a fucking plane tonight. I'm glad she's going to be like back
Wait, you're saying she
full
shouldn't be
time
on
next
camera?
week.
Is that what you're saying?
No. I wish she got back soon.
With the
so she
gluten
could have been here.
elephantitis?
However, she's been legit gone the last 2 weeks. Whatever. I mean, I'm glad
missed
she's
you
going
all
to be back
too.
full time.
Wouldn't
You
it
got
be
something to say, Rain?
elephant?
Do you want to be like,
Well,
God
yeah.
Would
bless
it be
Silly X
elephant
and Eve
gluteus?
or whatever?
Elephantitis?
I missed you all. I will
Elephant
be back
gluteus.
next week. I'll also probably be streaming on my own channel at some point. I don't know. Drinking a bunch. I haven't gotten trashed in so long. I need to get drunk.
You got trashed
sound
literally last
so
fucking
enthusiastic.
Friday
Oh
night.
shit, I did. But that was
You
like.
said you were gonna get
I-
trashed tonight too. You said you were gonna catch up.
So I got home and I was just like, I want water. I like was dying for water.
You know water's
But no.
unhealthy for you, right?
Everyone dies.
Wasn't
They
Jamie
drink
playing
water.
there too?
No, it was
No,
it was
Boat
me, Dark, and a
Wild
couple
and-
others. Yeah, Boat was there. So I had an actual blast. That was super fun. And then towards the end of the night, they kept handing me water, and I really had to pee a bunch. It was terrible.
That'll
How
happen.
was the Pride Parade? Did you have a good time at the Pride Parade?
I saw a titty.
Oh
Gross.
shit! You did
What?
not see
Really?
a titty in New York during the Pride Parade. Was it a man's titty?
Actually, it was super fun. So like when I was in New York, I was like super like wary of everyone, and then during Pride event, I was like, wow, everyone's so nice and friendly. This is amazing. It was like so nice.
And then a titty came out, and you're like, "Oh shit! I'm not in fucking Iowa anymore."
It was not a good titty either. It was really
No,
disappointing.
it never fucking is.
No,
Anytime
never
you want to
is a
see
good-
one, it's just not.
The
A
good
public
ones,
titty
the
is
good ones
never a
always
good
stay
titty.
hidden.
Yeah.
Good tits just don't fucking whip out like that. It's-
Also, did you guys tell Drunk Canadian congrats for getting married tomorrow or whatever?
no,
Yeah,
that was
I
one of the
opened
things
up-
that we were
my
trying to
opening
save until
shot was
last.
Drunk
Oh
Canadian.
fuck! Oh shit!
But yeah,
That's
you know what?
two
Hey,
squares.
to drunk Canadian whose fiance must be worried about whether or not like their child's hair is going to thin at an early age, or and to fiance Canadian, good luck to you both tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like may Canadian law bless you and keep you in mooses for a long time.
May maple syrup
Are we
rain on
drinking to
your
that?
days.
Guess we could drink to that. I mean, like
Yeah,
I was
I'm-
just
I'm-
saying
I'm
it to
gonna
like
drink to
hope
that.
somebody else fucking
Yeah,
chimed in
you can't-
after and like say something real.
Paul, if you need me,
Yeah,
just
you
text
can.
me
You can like
tomorrow.
make a fucking better toast because I
There's
totally
no
just hacked him
such
while still
toasts.
making her just try to raise
I
an
can't
eyebrow.
come up with good toast. All my toast would have maple syrup in them, which is discriminatory. And LB's gonna fight me in Vegas because of all my maple syrup.
We will
toast.
fucking roll it out here. You know what? Thank you all. Peace out, bitches. See you next week or tomorrow.
Wait, are we done?
Later,
Yeah, we just
bitches.
congratulated you on
Motherfucker,
your
could you
wedding.
please pay attention?
Sorry, I was
Grab a fucking loony
kidding.
and pay attention.
getting yelled at.
Do you want to say something? Do you want to give a shout out? Do you want to be like, my lovely wife, I will see you tomorrow when we're both wearing fucking special things and
She's just like shaking her head, like no.
Wait, did she,
Oh, you-
Did she say we're not getting married?
we're not getting married? We totally scammed
Okay,
you all.
so-
You guys are scamming us.
As
fucking
as I
bitches.
said,
I'm running from the altar.
so we're doing the paperwork tomorrow. So technically,
That's
means
the
we're
marriage.
That's
fucking
the
married.
Canadian
And when you
side of
sign
it.
the
Nobody gives a shit
paper,
what you
you're
do in Jamaica
married.
and get some big bamboo.
I know this, but then we're doing the actual ceremony in Jamaica
With their back.
That
with our
doesn't
vows
mean
and all
shit.
that stuff.
You don't need vows
I
to get
know.
married. You sign a piece of paper. It's
Yeah,
literally
I
just
know.
a
I
contract.
know this.
There's
Kelsey
tradition.
gets half your shit.
Nobody counts what happens on an island as happening like in your home country.
Well, technically, our continent is a giant fucking island
Whatever, it's
combined
not.
with South America.
Keep her down there, science.
Oh, whoa.
What happens if the fucking
Dra-
moon hits
Drayden,
Jamaica?
the
Then
science
what,
guy?
Drayden?
The Jamaica's gone. If the moon
So,
hits
okay,
anything,
I'll
everything's
explain,
gone.
I'll
Everything's
explain
gone.
why she's so angry right now. Is because like on the show,
Yeah,
like
she
so
doesn't
I'm not
look
gonna
angry.
be on.
She just wants to
I'm
be
not
angry.
gonna be on the show next Friday because I'm flying to Jamaica.
Yeah.
At which point we're doing the ceremony there. So this is like the last show I'm doing. Tomorrow we're doing the paperwork,
Can you
and then we're actually
get
doing the
someone
ceremony.
to Skype it so we can like watch you get married, and then you guys can take shots. At
What
the
happens
altar?
if you do the paperwork tomorrow and then you die? Does she collect your pension?
You can have shots
Oh,
at the
yeah.
altar.
As of
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow, we are technically married.
Boom, boom, woman. There you go. Score up his fucking pension when you kill him off on the flight.
What?
She actually just said she's going to kill me.
Yeah.
That's
Who
not
wouldn't?
good.
Who wouldn't? Canadian pensions are boss.
Catch it on stream so
Uh,
then we get the money when
She's
you
like,
die.
oh look, the oxygen mask popped down. Hits the eject button on the
Close
side door.
calling the fucking Jamaica people and telling them we're not fucking getting married here. We'll get married in Jamaica then. Like,
Wait,
However,
you
if
you
you're gonna
actually
buy
just
jewelry,
said
if you're
we're
gonna
not
buy
gonna get
jewelry
married in
down,
Jamaica.
do not buy it from that woman at the fucking flea
Oh,
market.
it's
Like actually get down into the part where it's like gated off and like you can like sit there and go, I invoke privilege to buy jewelry at the right price.
Is there privilege for jewelry?
There is. There's a privileged jewelry zone.
I've never had privilege for jewelry.
Yes. They're going to Runaway Bay. You want to go to the Ocho Rios
Wait.
privilege zone to buy
is it for
jewelry at a
marriage
fair
only?
price.
Is that the privilege?
I don't
no,
think.
No,
Why
it's-
would you buy?
it has nothing to do with
jewelry?
marriage.
Don't
They
buy jewelry.
literally don't care if your
What
money
do you
is
mean,
married
why
or
would you
not.
buy jewelry? Marriage, you have to have rings, right?
They
You gotta
should
buy
already have
rings.
that, and they should have those silicone.
I assume that
rings
what
for
he
like
has
$8
are
a
those things
piece.
that break off when you open a new maple
The
syrup
silicone
container.
rings.
Oh, you mean like the pop top?
You can get like surgical silicone rings, and then that way when you're going to work and you get them ripped off by like a piece of machinery, it just takes the silicone ring off and not your whole fucking finger.
We should all just have a really, really quick fucking like, Eve Jamaica. Oh my god, fucking Eve Jamaica would be so fucking badass.
Yeah, man.
All the jerk chicken.
We'd be so high.
Well, you can come to Washington for that. We can have Eve Spokane and get high.
Whatever,
as
it's
fuck.
not fucking the same. Getting high in the United States now is just not cool. Getting high in fucking Jamaica is still fun.
What about getting high in somewhere that's really repressed, like the United States?
You mean like Washington?
Like Idaho. The funny thing is, like, there's three.
Idaho. Getting high in Montana or Arkansas?
No. I'm saying, like, in the U.S., like, there's several states that have legalized it, and there's a bunch of states that have medically legalized it. There's three states in the U.S. that have that it's illegal. Period. Idaho is one of those. Idaho.
Did they legalize it in New York? Because I was walking in New York and
I
there
don't
was a
think so.
van there trying to sell weed, and I'm like, what the fuck?
No. I think
Was
it's
it like
legal in
a
Bo-
van that said free hugs on it?
Massachusetts.
It was a van that was like 420 blaze it with like green and shit all over it.
No,
Eve Vegas 420 blaze it high.
I think it's legal in Massachusetts, but like I said, New York it's medically legal. I don't know the three states, but Idaho is one of like the 3 or 4 states where it's just illegal, medical card or not. Like it's illegal. You have weed in
Exactly.
Idaho,
They're like suffer, bitch.
and it's actually a class 1 drug in Idaho. It's actually like on the same level as like methamphetamine.
Okay, what the
speed.
fuck?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
What
Like,
a stupid state.
you get caught with weed, like small amounts, it's a misdemeanor. But you get caught with weed, like in any somewhat.
I just want to
sizable
throw
amount,
it
it's
out
a
there for
felony.
those of you who are considering coming to Eve Vegas this year that Las Vegas, their shit went into effect as of 27 minutes from now. Okay, this will be known as Eve Vegas 420 Blaze It.
Wait, it's legal in Vegas?
Because they have passed that law and it goes into effect later tonight. They're by the time we get there in October, there will be more people selling it than what there are now. But no matter what, we will just be fucking blazing it like sinos all over that bitch.
Well, right. I don't know if it's.
Apparently, Canada's supposed to have
I
it all
think
legal
they,
by next
I don't know
year.
if they passed for all of Nevada. I would assume so. The thing, I'm not sure like the date. When we get to Vegas, when it gets to October, it will be legal, is what I've heard.
No, literally
know if
right
it's
now,
legal right now. I think they
26
passed
minutes,
it.
26 minutes and counting. There are a bunch of motherfuckers standing out there right now going, I'm gonna light the fuck up.
Yeah, I think it was passed, but I don't think it goes into effect yet.
No, literally, the
But by
It's good.
Eve Vegas, I think it is actually
the number
legal.
of purveyors is small right now because of some lawsuits and shit. However, recreational marijuana use in Vegas goes into effect in 25 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So they did pass it a while back, but yeah, bam, toke it up.
So by the time we get out there, they'll have their shit all worked out. The link will be just like a fucking blaze fest. It'll be like it'll be fucking pretty good.
Wait, you say no, it's 3:26. Vegas is on Pacific time. It's not 3:26. Vegas is Pacific time.
I don't even
which
know
is
what that
my
means.
time.
It's 3:26. Vegas is on Pacific. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sorry about.
Well,
my
I was
bad.
saying like Vegas is I'm on Pacific
Whatever.
time.
Yeah,
and it's like
no, he's right. He's talking East Coast. You're right, Noisy. I'm sorry. It's not.
Oh, 3:26.
3 hours and 26 minutes. Yes. 3 hours and 26 minutes from now, shit'll get fucking real. But by the time we get there, nobody will give a shit about that fucking extra thing. We're gonna get there, and we're just gonna be like, yo, should we get some Tito's? Fuck that shit. Does Tito's make pot?
I could tell you right now. Now here's the thing with the legalization of weed, and I mean, I don't smoke it, but hip hop does. And when they legalize marijuana,
Hip hop is totally a fucking stoner looking motherfucker.
yeah,
no
absolutely.
question.
But like when weed is legalized, they don't have any restrictions on THC content, and so what you would used to generally buy is like your general just kind of work weed, where it's like, it's good. It's not like shitty brown weed or anything like that, but it's not super chronic. Like that's crap. When you go to the weed shops,
Exactly. I want to walk up to
the
a dude and be like, bro, I want to buy some. And he goes, what do you want? I'm be like, look, pretend I've got bone cancer. Give me your shit.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. When these weed shops go legal, I can tell you, like, because I go through Spokane a lot, and I smell the shit that hip hop comes home with, and the weed when it's legalized. Think of the most chronic shit you've ever had in your entire life, double it, and that's what you buy is just regular general shit out of these stores.
Blueberry Yum Yum?
Dude, it is like hip hop will
Is it
come in the
Pineapple
door,
Express?
and 10 seconds later, my door is closed, and I'll be like, he bought some weed today.
Oh, yeah.
It smells like a skunk died right next to my chair. Like, it's so fucking intense. Like, that is just like, if you're like a normal weed smoker, you'll smoke one bowl and be floored. If you don't smoke weed that often, you'll take one hit.
Fucking
you'll be
wild.
Out
fucking
of your
wild.
fucking mind.
Does Tito's make pot? Somebody put that in a mug.
No, quality does not
Because
demand
I'm
higher
gonna tell you
price.
right now, it's only a matter of time before fucking Tito's comes out with some goddamn freaking gluten-free pot.
Well, and that's
Yes, that's my favorite.
Well, and Rodin saying is like
Nobody
quality
wants
demands.
to smoke that gluten.
Rodin saying quality demands higher price. Not true. When weed is legal, all of the top quality weed is like your average stuff now. So quality doesn't mean shit. It's all sold at like roughly the same price, and people have to compete.
This is all socialism, baby. This is all socialism.
Being that now
Actually,
it's legal,
that's a good question.
All fucking
Can
weed's
rain
the same.
smoke
Except
dope?
it's not.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when weed is legal, all the growers now have to basically compete with each other, and so they have to sell at the same price, but the way that their stuff gets bought more often is that they have to make better weed for the same price, and so the price doesn't change. The quality of the weed just goes straight up.
I blame this on Obama, but I say it with a smile.
That's probably Trump.
Thanks,
Fun.
Obama.
A non-ironic thanks, Obama.
Anyways, all right. You know what, people? We are out of here. We will disappear off into the fucking channel that we will exist in normally in the after hour thing. We've given you an extra 38 by the time we're done here, fucking 39 minutes. You know what? Love y'all. Peace out. Yeah.
Later, bitches.
Later, bitches.
Later, bitches.
Later, bitches.
All right, I'm gonna switch to my channel.